That white noise.
Yeah, we're good.
These are super cheap headphones, so.
Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo community, a place for tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious to unite under all things art and tattoos. We encourage you to join in these live streams and real-world events where we offer a new option for connecting with each other to better your art, develop your skill set, and be with other like-minded artists. If you're new to our community, you can find us beaming out nearly every day. We've evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on-demand tattoo and art shows that are expanding all the time. Thank you to everyone joining us on YouTube or Facebook, and a special thanks to those of you who are listening to the podcast. Our event schedule and notifications can be found in our official Reinventing the Tattoo community. To get there, search for and download the Reinventing the Tattoo app that is found in both of your app stores, Apple and Google Play. You can also join directly at community.reinventingthetattoo.com. All of our network shows, art jams, drawing groups, interviews, panels, webinars can be enjoyed on demand and are stored in our library, as well as the YouTube and podcast channels. There you'll find countless tattoo and art rabbit holes, perfect for the front room of your studio or to entertain tattoo clients. In fact, we're beaming out 4 channels 24/7. If you go to reinventing247.com, you can see all of this and enter to win a goodie bag with samples from Cheyenne cartridges, raw pigments, and D-Lies Pro. We also have several weekly shows and drawing groups too. Every Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m., you can join Jason Lesser for his Reinventing Drawing Group. All skill levels are welcome. At 9 p.m. on Sundays, you can watch the Tattoo Weekly with myself, Gabe Ripley, and Jake Meeks of our affiliate Fireside Tattoo. Every Monday evening, we have our evening canon class with subscribers led by Guy Aitchison. This month, we are focusing on anatomy. To join, subscribe to the canon at courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. Every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., we have Ricardo Sturdivant for his Reinventing Drawing Group. Wednesdays at noon, you can find the Tattoo Now Show, hosted by Gabe Ripley. Every Thursday afternoon, you can find the Tattoo Collecting Podcast, hosted by Fawn Baker and Jordan Rookus. And on Thursday mornings, subscribers are welcome to join Kier for skill levels that are focused on apprentices, fundamentals, and such. Now, there are several ways to support our show, and that is by checking out some of our upcoming pro development and on-demand shows. We've got stuff from Andre Malcolm, BJ Betts, Bob Tyrell, and others. Find all of this at courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. Of course, we mentioned this being a free community, and we want to say thank you to all of our sponsors for making that happen for us. We recommend checking out World Tattoo Events at worldtattooevents.com. They are the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. Lots of stuff is updating as conventions are rescheduling like crazy, so definitely remember to check them out. We also have Inkjet Stencils, found at inkjetstencils.com. Now, print stencils from your mobile or computer. Save your time, hands, and apprentices' hands. Webinars and free samples are located on their website. We've also got Raw Pigments, an ink company that is tapping into the source with acrylic-free pigments that have really been impressing artists across the globe. You can find out more about them at rawpigments.co. We also have D-Lies Pro, known internationally as Dermalize Pro. Protect your art. If you're using saran wrap, watch videos of tattooers to see what it's all about at dermalizepro.com. Also, thank you to Tattoo Now, which is tattoo technology for tattooers. And of course, the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo, Guy Aitchison. You can find his Biomech Encyclopedia, DVDs, machines, paintings, and more at guyaitchison.com. We also want to say thank you to our affiliate Fireside Tattoo Network, the Apprenticeship Diaries, and ecofriendlytattoosupplies.com. Now, I know it's cool seeing us on the screen, but there, of course, are real-world events that are upcoming at the end of this year. October 3rd to 6th, the Paradise BYOB in Jiminy Peak, Massachusetts, will be webcasting shows live with tons of great content going on. As well as November 12th to 14th, you can find us in Belgium at the Brussels Tattoo Convention. Nick Baxter, Ivana, and Gabe will be doing seminars, beaming in an art jam, and a subscriber exclusive meetups, as well as general ones. Next May 20th to 22nd, you can find us in Hell City. July 8th to 10th, the Rock River Tattoo and Art Expo. There'll be a reinventing track artist. Amazing venue. It's easy to get to from anywhere in the world. July 29th to 31st, 2022, the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational will be back with Tony Urbanic in Akron, Ohio. Now, if you guys missed that Paradise Tattoo Gathering, don't worry. Next October 20th to 23rd, the Paradise Tattoo Gathering will be back. Now, we welcome positive reviews on our channels and would love for you to follow us. But if you would like to host a reinventing event or to sponsor our community, just send us an email to management@reinventingthetattoo.com. Now, I'm going to get out of here. I will be in the background reading off comments. I'll have my browser open to share inspirations and references. Let me know where you're beaming in from. Thanks to our growing crew of contributing artists, truly helping Reinventing reach more of the right people for the right reasons. Thank you for inspiring each other and everyone in our virtual Reinventing offices.
Thanks,
All right.
Lauren.
Jordan, how's it going?
Good.
Good. Episode 59.
Yeah, I can't-
59.
Crazy.
The higher that number gets, the harder it is to believe because it doesn't feel like we've been doing this that long.
Right? The Tattoo Collecting Podcast.
Hmm.
We've been in it for a while. I
Yeah.
like it. I'm proud of us. I was just thinking about it today. How, I don't know, it's 60 episodes. Never, I knew we'd get really far with it, but it's just wild to see, how much progress we've had.
Mhm.
And
feel like-
where,
I
we, where we
did, like-
started, where we are now with it.
We did like maybe 12 episodes of the Tattoo Weekly, and I was thinking about you guys. I'm like, wow, that's a huge commitment to be almost at 60 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, it doesn't, like, at first, it doesn't seem like it's going to take up a ton of our time. And it's just going to be like, we can just spend a few hours doing this and it'll be fine.
Right.
But
And
like,
then it's
it really,
literally every Thursday, every Thursday it ends up being for an entire year now.
Mhm.
It's wild. And there's going to be 2-3 years. It's going to keep going.
We've spent 2 whole months running our mouths.
Yeah. So
That's
anyone
what
who's
that
still
means.
listening, thank you. I'm glad
That's
you guys.
fantastic.
I'm glad y'all find us interesting. That's for sure. We have so much fun sitting here doing this. And thank you, Lauren, and thank you, Reinventing, for letting us just jab around.
Absolutely.
Before we got to go live today, Jordan was just kind of picking my brain about like conventions and stuff. So what are you doing this week? What are you getting ready to do, Lauren?
I'm actually going to be doing the Tampa Tattoo Convention, which is local to Lucky Supply. We just
Nice.
recently started working with them, so I'm kind of excited to go and see the museum and stuff on Monday. But yeah, the Tampa Convention is won by Villain Arts, so it should be pretty interesting.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. I am, I have been talking to my manager, and I think starting in January, I'm going to like legitimately get back into the swing of traveling. Like I'm going to start working in like one road trip a month. And so whether it's visiting a string of like other tattooers studios or at least hitting a convention, or maybe I could swing it where I could hit 2 conventions in one weekend. Like if I'm on the road, I might as well be on the road.
Right.
But I think I'm going to start working a plan together with Emily so that monthly I or we can be somewhere outside of Ohio or just outside of Columbus anyways.
That's awesome.
I did
That's awesome.
I did kind of take a real deep look at what's going on in 2022, and there's a nice handful. Like if you were to say, hey, I want to do one thing a month within
Mhm.
the US, that you could definitely pull that off.
Yeah, I think the schedules are getting back to normal. I mean, there's still a lot of limitations. Like, there are still shows that are being canceled, but I think by the time we get into next year and we get like halfway through next year, I think schedules are going to stay locked in and more protocols are going to be in place. And, I'm going to
Yeah.
go with the flow. I'm going to comply. So
Yep. I think next year's going to be a bit more travel for me. I've just been hunkering down for a while. I think it's time to get back out, but I don't think it's going to be the end of this year. I think I'll probably mid next year. I'll start traveling a
Mhm.
lot. I just in save mode.
But yeah, we were talking a little bit about Hell City and what we were going to be getting into Hell City wise. Jordan was asking if I was going to be like tattooing or how much I was going to be tattooing. And I was like, I mean, honestly, I'm going to try and do as much with the podcast as I can. But as we were setting it up, I kind of like led me to think maybe we should open the question. Like maybe every few episodes we should talk about what people want to see, like what people want to see us get involved in. You know, I definitely want to get involved, and I want to get close up, and I want to be as involved in competitions as I can and get as much of that footage to share with people. But like, as viewers, what kind of people do you want us to grab out of the crowd to talk to? Like, what kind of collectors do you want to hear from? Like, do you want to hear from more tattooers and hear their like history and their passion, or do you want to hear from collectors? I mean, regardless, we're all collectors. We're all proud to wear this artwork, but like, once I'm at conventions and I've got all these people to choose from and talk to, and like, what kind of people should we talk to?
Right.
What do you think, Jordan?
I think people I'm going to want to talk to are probably the people that I see that are trying the hardest to, you know, collect properly. You know, as artists, we know it when we see it, and as collectors, we know it when we see it. You can see someone who's taking a collection seriously, someone who's going diligently. Maybe it's one artist, maybe it's, you know, multiple artists, maybe it's a bodysuit from one artist, or maybe they got a ton of different pieces from different artists. But you can also tell by the quality of work. You know, it's one thing to talk to someone who is completely nonchalant about the way they go about their tattoo. I think every kind of collector is worth talking to for sure. But my interest is going to lie in the people that are really invested in their pieces. And I think those, you know that when you see it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. You know the artists,
when you
they're going
know
through
you
the
don't know that
process.
you don't
They're
what
not
you
the-
know and
and
you know.
I want to
and
talk to the
when you-
impulsive people. Sorry. I want to talk to the.
I'm sorry, I'm just teasing. It was great. I want to talk to the people that know when they know and they don't know what they don't know, and they know and they don't know when they.
You're making fun of me.
A little, but like it sounds kind of like how I talk sometimes. That's why I'm making
Are you
fun.
saying I talk like I live in Ohio?
I'm insinuating that you're talking like you like to talk.
I like to talk. I forgot what I was saying, where I was going with that. But
I'd love the chance to actually sit down and have like panels of people. Like if we can get like our own little conference room or our own little conference area, or like, our travel table, it's got 4 seats at it. So if we could constantly be like one of us and 2 or 3 people that we're talking to and actually making it like a panel discussion, maybe that would take pressure off of people too. Like instead of, can I interview you? Me, my eyes, your soul. Can I interview you on camera forever? It's a lot less intimidating to be like, hey, you want to have a discussion with us while we film it? You know what I mean? I feel like that's a brainstorm that I just
right, we gotta come off as harmless as possible. Let them know that it's super harmless. Just come on.
tell me all your darkest secrets.
Can't tell them that off the bat.
Oh, okay. Don't start off with
that's
that.
where we pry. We have our questions. We have, we get a little bit deeper and deeper, and the psychoanalytical part comes like 3/4 into it. But really, that that last quarter there, yeah, they're gonna be.
I don't know. I kind of think having like a little panel that's just constantly rolling would be kind of cool. We could have like a stationary camera on that panel, or 2 cameras, and then we could have another panel or another camera walking through the crowd, so we could switch back and forth between those 2 views for everybody, but have the audio of us jibber jabbering, talking about our work and
around,
the tattooers
and keeping like a steady stream the entire time.
Yeah. I kind of want to talk to people and like talk to them about how starstruck they are too. Like I still get that way. Do you still get that way when you like meet somebody new for the first time and you're like tripping over your tongue, like in the flesh?
Yes.
I have no words. Let me hold the door.
Definitely depending on the person, 100%. But yes.
Yeah, I like talking to people when they're starstruck and like their favorite tattooers are like 6 feet away from them. It's like, yeah, they're just a normal person.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I still experience it, but I like talking to people who like experience it more often.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and as especially as tattooers and stuff, and at conventions, we're talking to collectors and things, people who are
like when you see like a young apprentice walking down the aisles, and they'll be like, oh, that's so and so, and that's such and such, and oh my god, I can't believe such and such is here, and did you see so and so around the corner? Did you hear so and so is here? And it's like, It's like nerds at a Comic-Con. It's like that same kind of excitement, and I love it. And I use the term nerd very affectionately. Don't
See, that's why I
don't hate me
want
because I said
that's why I
nerd.
want a booth. I think having a booth would be really awesome to do this in and just bringing people back to the booth.
I think we're gonna have a lot of
But
freedom with
also, I
this.
think
So
like that's the freedom of it is we'll have the booth. Serious sit down if we want to have it, but then we have what you're talking about,
Mhm.
where we go walk around and do all that. So it's
Mhm.
like one of us can go walk around, do that. Maybe both of us. Maybe we got someone else at the table, but we have that.
Yep.
I think that's going to be the ticket. That's what I've been expecting, and that's what I've been planning for Hell City.
yeah, in reality, Ben will be available, I'm sure, that whole weekend.
Mhm.
Well, for sure, Ben will be available. He's part of the crew.
I
But
think we have a solid team of people who will be available for correspondence.
I'm really excited. I'm sure we could get Todd will definitely be here in person. So we'll be able to have like fun times with
will be here
Todd.
too.
Laura will definitely be there.
Mhm.
It'll be like a not only like the Hell City convention style family reunion, but it'll be like the tattoo collecting family reunion. Like Blade will
I feel like
definitely
that's why
be there.
That's why we need our booth. We need to.
Adam Rogers will be there. Oh, I worked on Adam yesterday.
That's the crew.
We can jump down that rabbit hole in a little bit, but I worked on Adam and I'm excited
Sorry,
about our
keep
project.
Keep like burping on the inside, trying to hold it down.
It's these revives that you're drinking. They're not carbonated, but they make you burp.
Hmm. I know. I feel like it. I used to think Monster's crazy, and I cannot drink any Monster except for these. These are like a tea, and they're so light on my stomach. They're really not that bad, but they're also like crack.
Kind of like the Starbucks.
It's really it's
nitro
only
cold
100
brew for
it's
me.
only 100 milligrams of caffeine. I'm not going to sit here and talk about
That's
Monster
3
all day,
solid
but
cups of coffee, though.
no, a cup of coffee is like 100 to 500 milligrams of caffeine.
I heard a regular 8-ounce cup is supposed to be like 35 to 50 milligrams.
150 to 500.
And like, because this is like a cup and a half.
Let's find out. I need to know right now.
Yeah, if we're talking
I could
an
be giving myself
8-ounce
hard
cup of coffee, how many milligrams?
How much caffeine in a cup of coffee, Siri?
How many milligrams of caffeine are in a cup of coffee? Man, if we had
Ranging from 50 to 400 milligrams per cup.
50 to 400,
Small home brew coffee could provide 50 milligrams, while a 16-ounce Starbucks could pack over 300.
okay. See, I was imagining like the 8-ounce serving size where each coffee cup, all of my coffee cups are oversized.
Okay,
So that's
fair.
like
That's
2
fair though. I
servings.
can totally understand that understanding because if I'm gonna drink like 3 or 4 cups of those.
Yeah, I'm
And
going for like
that's
an 8-ounce
150
serving.
milligrams in 1 cup, that would be a lot.
Yeah, if I look at a cup like this and call this
So
100
cool.
milligrams, I feel like
16,
that's cool.
I usually throw a couple espresso shots in there. I dose myself out when I drink coffee. I think I've been actually taking it kind of easy with these, but I can only drink 2 in a day. Oh, that's too much.
I try to stay away from the energy drinks. I feel like it's an indulgence when I get a Red Bull now, but I used to live off of them.
I have to switch from coffee because that's easier on my stomach, to be honest, as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah,
way
coffee's
easier.
not rough on me at all. I can do coffee all day. I
Yeah.
can do strong coffee. I enjoy not so
I have
strong
to
coffee,
switch.
but
I gotta switch. I go from coffee for a while to this because then coffee won't hurt my stomach after a while. This is pretty consistent. I just get kind of sick of it.
I think my body likes
It's
it when
a
I drink
delicate
coffee
balance.
instead of
just
pop
listen.
all day long.
I just listen to my
Pop,
body.
soda, pop,
Yeah.
pop.
Soda pop?
Pop.
Oh, you mean soda pop?
Coke,
Oh, you want a Coke?
pop.
I like a soda pop.
What part of the country are we from?
Michigan and Ohio. If you go to Florida, it's soda.
If you're in Ohio, it's pop. If you're in Michigan, it's pop.
pop. Pop. How do you spell that? P-A-U-P? P-A-U-W-P. Pop.
My name, because it's like the A-W-A-U sound, it sounds different in Ohio versus Michigan. Like there's a subtle nuance of how people say my name. So I have to like adjust my ear when I'm in public.
Fawn.
Fawn,
Fawn.
fawn, fawn,
Fawn.
fawn, fawn, fawn. I don't know. But it's a subtle thing. I used to think it was
F-A-U-W-N.
funny when I was a little kid, but as I've gotten older, I understand like the
Nuances.
the dialect and accents just change a little bit.
I definitely hear that with my name. Always when someone says it a little bit differently. Or it says I like when people say my last name because I really don't 100% know how to say it. Like people are like, is it Ruckus or Ruckus? Ruckus. Like, I don't know.
Crick or
I'm
Creek?
like, I just pick one as soon as like I have to say it.
You say it either way.
I'll say it Ruckus. I'll say it Ruckus. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not 100% sure. Or maybe if I ask like my great grandfather.
So my stepdad's family, their last name is Bosley. So there's the Bosley-Bosley conundrum.
Boston.
Hmm.
Do you even know it?
All of his family's always said Bosley, and one of his brothers and their kids say Bosley now, which is like, it's a little peculiar. Maybe it just depends on what part of the world like they came from originally. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean honestly,
I mean, I
a little
wouldn't-
bit nuance in language probably.
I wouldn't correct somebody that pronounced their name Bosley, but when somebody like says my mom's name or my stepdad's name,
I should just pick.
like I correct them and I say it the way they say it. Like I wouldn't like it if somebody called me, like if somebody slightly mispronounced my name all the time, but like people majorly mispronounce my name and I just roll with it. So
Yeah.
so the slight mispronunciation is a pet peeve, but like you get my name totally wrong, I'll still
Right.
answer to it.
I should just pick one and just pick Ruckus or Ruckus. Just be like Ruckus. And then when people say Ruckus, I'm gonna start getting really offended.
Or start spelling it with with a U, so it's actually ruckus.
With 2 U's.
Yeah.
Just to make it obvious.
Jordan, bring the ruckus.
It would just make people just as confused.
Yeah, I usually ask people how they like their name to be said or pronounced, or like if they've got a shortened version of their name. I'll actually ask somebody what they prefer to be called.
Yeah, that's
But I've never asked you. It never occurred to me.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like Creek Crick
Well, it's Ruckus.
because I've never heard you correct anybody one way or the other.
Just kidding. No, I don't. I never know what to say when people ask. I say the same thing that I just told you. Like, I
What'd
don't
your
really know.
grandparents
I'm
say?
like, I think-
Stick with that.
Honestly, I think I would probably prefer Ruckus. Right?
That could be rain. I brought the cat in.
That's intense rain.
Yeah, I brought
My
the
cat?
cat in. No, my cat, because he
Oh.
wanted to stay outside, but
My
like, no,
cat
come
is
in.
Not allowed outside.
I knew it was going to downpour on him.
Yeah.
I don't think the mics are picking this up, but it is like raining cats
Yep.
and dogs outside. It sounds like there's a helicopter about to land on the house. But
I like it.
so you've been working on some rad pieces this week. We've actually
This
worked at the
was a-
same time a few
Right,
days.
this was a good week. I finished like 3 pieces. So I had a 1-day finish.
I
It's
wrapped
always
up
nice
2
when I
today,
finish a
or this
piece in a
week.
day. I'll put these. I'll send these over in a little bit. We'll go over them. I'm really happy with how they turned out. Yeah, I have wrapped up like 3 different pieces. One piece I finished in a day. It's so rare that I get a piece done in a day. 'cause
That
they're
hand
all
piece?
multiple. I know you feel
Is
the
that the
same.
one you're talking
To
about?
finish something in a day is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's like, and sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I could get this done in a day. And then like, as we're talking, the project gets bigger. So like what was planned to be a 1-day piece now has grown into like a
that's-
larger tattoo.
And
So
that's the same
it's,
thing. of
it's
what
cool
this
when they
is.
grow though. Like,
Mhm. We did it with the idea of putting more on there. We know we're gonna do the whole sleeve. But then I finished a sleeve. That was really awesome.
feels
Happy
good,
with
doesn't
that,
it?
yeah.
When you're fine, like, not that like there's any pressure to finish, but there's just like a super good feeling of like accomplishment and like gratification when like you finally buttoned up a project that's been several months or a few years in the making.
Mhm.
Like as excited as collectors get and clients get about getting their tattoos finished, we get equally as excited. Like we've had this idea for so long, and when we can finally see it like tangible and in real life, it's like,
Oh man.
all right, look
100%.
what look what I made.
When you see the vision just come to completion, it's really bittersweet, honestly. You know, there's the comfort in working on them. Like I love, like, I don't know. I like being able to go back to pieces. I
Mhm.
like, just like get to know the client and things, and then it's done. It's like it's over. All right, well,
Yeah, that's
You
the
better come
bittersweet
back.
part is the like, well, I hope I get to work on you again because this was rad. I buttoned one project up and I was already like I'm not trying to be arrogant and like commit you to a project with me, but this has just been an incredibly fun project to work on. You've been an incredibly good person to work on,
And
I'm
I'm not one to rush projects either. I want to be able to spend as much time on a project as I can. So like even the project of itself, like I have a relationship with. So it's
Mhm.
like I want like the project, I have a vision for the project. I have for that and have all these things I want to do. And I don't know, when my mind's revolving around that all the time, there's almost like a comfort in that, it's nice to have those projects. And then when it's done, it's like, oh man, I almost want to keep working on this so bad. I'm like, will you come back for another session on this? But he's like, yeah, I drive 6 hours out here, but one day I'm like, when it's all healed up, wait like a year. If you want to come back, make another session, there's definitely, we can go back over and do some more things on this if you want, but we just had to call it. We tried to like, he gave me a budget. We reached our budget. We reached our sessions that we said it was going to be. So I did what I could with the time that we had, what he wanted to pay for his traveling and things.
And sometimes one of the things that I always like to reiterate, I don't want to say push or stress, but one of the things that I like to reiterate over and over again is it's not a race. So sometimes you might jump into a project with a budget in mind, but like sometimes we got to make compromises. But the thing is, like, if that budget ends up getting bigger, most of the time your artists are like, this idea got better, so we just need more time. And when both parties are invested and both parties understand, like, this is dedication going into this isn't like just screwing off and like, I'm not being taken advantage of, but the project grew, the idea got better, like more can go into it. Like, yes, it's complete, but it could be better. And I think when you've got a dedicated client who like sees the evolution and sees the progress, I don't necessarily like, I've never had anybody necessarily upset that like we have to have another session or another. Usually it's like, I'd really like to spend another like 3 hours on this. Like usually it's not even like I want to get a full day.
I get
but
like 1 out of 20 people who get like that, and it's not a pain. And I don't say it's a pain at all, because we talk about it usually in the beginning, and we know, like, I'll be like, this is going to go this long, it's a sleeve and stuff, and it's like, my budget's this, and my wife's gonna fucking kill me if I go over this. Like, please don't go over this. We can keep it this. And then I decide if that's something I can do. I don't want to take on something and make a promise I can't keep on that end, and I won't do that. But I can work in a way where I can be a little bit faster, and I can do things that'll, and I don't want to say at the expense of anything, but I can work in bigger shapes. I can work in a way that we can complete a sleeve that's still going to look awesome, and still be that. But like, let's say, like,
different bag of tricks.
If I had the extra, 3 sessions on a tattoo or something that I don't know, 5 sessions usually is what I need for a sleeve, but maybe that 6th, 7th session, some magic can really happen if it's needed. So being open for more is always, good as a collector. But
I guess that's what I'm getting at. It's like sometimes we do start a project with like hard intentions and hard budgets and things like that, but be flexible. Like maybe give yourself like a hard monthly budget or a hard like every 2-month budget, or like however far apart your appointments are. Just like for me, when I'm in the middle of a big project, I just kind of look at that as another monthly bill. Like it's just another monthly obligation that I've got to put into my budget. Like that's just one of those, like, I know I've got this appointment coming up, and I know after this appointment, we're going to schedule another one immediately. So like, I just get in that routine where it's just like, while my project is going on, it's just like part of my monthly budget. It sounds silly. It sounds frivolous, but like, I don't have kids. I don't have a lot of responsibilities outside of like myself and my ideas that are growing me as an artist. So with that in mind, I can just budget it in, if I need to work more to make it happen, I'll work more to make it happen, because it's that important to me. I have clients who have second jobs just because, like, let's say their money situation's tight. They've got several kids, tight budget, obligations with spouse, things like that. And I have clients who literally have like a second job at like a coffee shop, or they bartend 2 nights a week, and that's their tattoo fund, and that's their, that's their play money, and that's what they dedicate to their tattoos. So, it sounds like a crazy sacrifice to like take on a second job to get a tattoo. But when it's something that's that important to you and something that you're going to have for the rest of your life, and you're going to talk about these tattoos with your kids, and you're going to talk about these tattoos with your grandkids, and you're going to talk about the stories behind them and the experiences collecting them, and then once we get into like the spiritual growth that we talk about all the time, like it becomes worth it. Like you're working hard for this thing that you want badly, and your artist wants to bring it to life too. So like when there's so much dedication to the project, it's going to happen, like through the dedication, there's also flexibility. And like, if appointments have to be, I've definitely run into it with my clients where we'll get into a project and we'll have the commitment and we'll be seeing each other every 4 weeks, like clockwork. And then one of their kids joins an expensive sport. So it's like, we got to see each other every other month. It's like, oh, well, that's okay. You go ahead and buy that hockey equipment for your kid. Like, you go ahead and pay to travel with your kid for their traveling sports and things like that. Like, as artists, we understand priorities, but I guess as a collector, anytime you go into a big project, just be open-minded that it might take a little bit longer, but it's okay because the ideas are just growing and getting better. You know, I know like Cervena, have you heard her talk about her back? I think his Instagram is drawing dead art. But every time she sees, his name's Gabe, but every time she sees him, she's like, it's just like another layer of black and gray with white highlights over and over again. But like, as I've watched her back progress, like it gets more milky and more beautiful and more smooth every time she sees him. So, you know, it's been
Right. Some people have a process of layering, and
Yeah.
some people just have their own process. And sometimes it can take a lot. It can take a lot to achieve the results, but like those results can only be achieved that way.
Right.
If you want it from that person, the way that they do it, they have a way that
And
they
think
do it. And there's a
about-
reason why it looks the way it does is because that they do it that way. And you got to trust that as long as it's going to take, like, that's how I feel about, I mean, honestly, when I go about my tattoo collecting, I don't put the end limit. I don't ask how many. I might ask like, how many sessions do you think it's going to be? Just to maybe get a range of what they think it could be. But at the same time, in my head, I go about it with the like, fuck, if guy said 10 sessions on my back, like
it's going to
I'm
be
gonna
12
go-
or 14.
or if he says 5 and he's like, I want you to come in for another one. I want you to come in for another 2 days, another 2 days. Like I would do it until he said it's done. Like I want to see his vision come true. And I know it's going to cost a lot and there could be breaks between, you know, I'm going to do my best to get in. But
when Russ and I jumped into
Yeah,
my
there might
back,
be breaks,
it
but
was
still.
so far out of like either of our wheelhouses that there wasn't even a discussion of how many sessions or how long he thought it would take. It was just, let's do as many back-to-back sessions until it's finished. There was no like, I had no idea going in that it was going to take 2 years of going back and forth, but it did, and I wouldn't take any of it back. So, you know, it was all worth it. And now I've got this beautiful work of art that nobody else in the world has. It's pretty cool. Like there's not another back piece you can even compare to mine.
Yeah.
But
And
it
no one's
took
gonna have
the
that.
freedom of both of us just willing to be like, okay, it's just going to take whatever it takes to accomplish this, and we're both in it for the long haul. And that's just the best kind of commitment, I guess. I don't know. Don't be afraid if projects do get bigger or take longer. It's all worth it. It's all super
And
worth it in the
we
end.
understand how hard it. I mean, it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money, and we understand that. And don't jump into a tattoo if you're not ready. We're never going to try to talk anyone into anything. We just want people to understand what it's going to take, what it's going to take to get there. I'm thankful for my ability to communicate that with my clientele at this point in my career. I definitely feel like earlier in my career, there was just a lot more people that had, different expectations and didn't want to collect in that way. So very thankful to have the really understanding people that I do have, the really understanding clients I have now.
Send in some cool videos of some of my recent work this week.
Look at how lively the tank is right now. We got Gobi over here. Like,
I wish we could zoom in with these cameras.
Totally like out of his thing. He's normally in the corner back there. He's right there. I have no idea what he's doing. Shrimp must be making a new hole.
We need to set a camera just on these guys.
Crab's going crazy. Yeah. This tank's going wild. It's off the chain over here.
I'm so glad that you're nerding out about your fish tank. It's so much fun.
Oh, it's my favorite. Look at that Gobi. Look at him. Look at him. It's rare. You never get to see him out of the hole. He's always in the hole.
I thought I lost my freshwater goby and he reappeared. He must have been inside the log because I've got like a totally hollow piece of driftwood. So my shrimp stay in there all the time unless they actually get hungry enough to come out. But like I keep my tank pretty overfed.
When you were a kid and you were jumping around in creeks, did you ever find like looking for like crayfish? Did you find gobies and stuff and see those little guys like swimming around? They were always like the rarest ones. And I would always see them and I always wanted to catch them so bad. But
Hmm.
I'd be flipping rocks, and then I'd see this
I
strange
bet-
little fish.
I bet you were seeing baby walleye in streams. I bet there were tiny baby walleye. Freshwater gobies only exist in Indonesia.
Really?
Yeah, I bet they were little tiny baby walleye because they'll like grip the same way but those are tiny fish that are going to grow to be about 4 feet long.
Maybe they were.
Yeah,
I have.
they're
no
in the
idea.
littlest
They were a strange
streams.
little fish. Yeah.
Yep, they'll be in the littlest streams. Mhm. I caught one time that was like the size of a pencil.
Okay. Maybe that is what because they were so weird.
Walleye. There's another one
But they
like
were kinda-
sockeye, but they'll grip like algae on rocks and scoot up to like, but they're not actually
Yeah, they were
gobies.
little scooters for sure.
Yeah.
You know, they got their little.
Yep,
little
those are baby
fins,
big
they stay
fish.
Flat.
Those were baby big fish.
Really.
hmm
I thought I remember them being a little bit more head heavy too, though. Like more like at the front bigger and then getting smaller towards the back.
I'm not saying there couldn't be a goby like
Kinda like
fish in
race-
Michigan.
racy
There's a
looking.
lot of really cool cold water fish in Michigan.
Yeah.
There could be something that I'm not aware of. Like there's crazy salamanders all
I
over
wouldn't doubt, though.
Michigan. There's like giant 4-foot long salamanders in Lake Michigan.
That's so cool. I used to try to look for big salamanders all the time as a kid.
Yeah, I only ever found little ones.
Yep, me too. Me too. Okay, so you got these pictures you just sent over?
I got some videos and stuff. Let's see what
Oh yeah, I told you already. I got amphipods coming.
let's explain to our listeners what you're talking about, Jordan.
Amphipods, tiny little sea monkey looking creatures. So we got big creatures in this tank, but we're also going to have tiny little shrimpy creatures that'll be very, very small.
When you say small, how big are they going to be?
Like the size of probably like a tip of a pen, if not a little bit bigger.
Really?
Like flea size.
Are
a
they
little
like
bigger than that.
Daphnia?
I'm not sure what Daphnia are.
Little tiny crustaceans.
Yeah, they're probably like this big.
I'm excited.
Ballpoint.
Are they
pen.
going to travel through the water, or are they like bottom and side dwellers?
I think they'll be around the water and then they'll find dwellings and stuff. But like they're also kind of like a food source. So you put them in there and like the fish will eat them, but they'll also just live in there until then. Just
Hmm.
another part of the ecosystem.
Here's one that I was just finished up this week.
Finish that one.
Yeah. He's ready to, I think he'll be jumping into another project soon. So I'm excited. That's one of those ones that would have been bittersweet, but I feel like this is going to grow.
So cool. When Boyd started it, or at least when he started the centerpiece.
Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, guys, I fail at this. Well, this one's super similar. We're listening to Archer. It's fantastic.
What was that in the background?
Yeah. Oh, I paused it on us. It's like Archer and Wish You Were Here. Yeah, this was such a fun project for me. We started out with the black hole diagram, and then we started building all the other geometry around it, and then morphed down into the planets below.
That's so wild.
I think this is the most intricate Earth that I've ever done. It's maybe the size, just a little bit larger than a baseball.
20 sessions altogether. Is good.
5 or 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
Yeah, not bad for this amount of saturation. But there were definitely a few sessions in there where it was like, I know this looks like a train wreck. Just have faith. I promise it'll be good.
Right.
I promise it'll be good.
Yeah, with that much color there.
I got a couple of time lapses. Here's another piece. This is actually a leg sleeve that was started by another artist that I'm kind of reworking and completing the whole leg. So the whole like outer and upper panel was already tattooed. So I've reworked all the about 2/3 of that outer panel. We're kind of going back and forth between reworking session and adding a new piece session just to kind of keep excitement on the project. But the whole lower part of the leg is going to be all Alice in Wonderland, and the upper part is going to be Wizard of Oz. So it'll be all of these like trippy little
That's awesome.
yeah, trippy little nuanced I guess themes on her leg. And then above this piece, we are going to have one of the portraits of Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter. So
Very cool.
these time lapses make it look so fast and easy.
Printer, your copy machine.
Look at the back of my head. I need to be more mindful of where the cameras are. I actually try to like set the electronics up and just forget they're there. I try not to spend too much time once I get them set up. I try to spend as little time and attention messing with them. Oh, I think I didn't send, I took a video where I was finishing his face. I don't think I sent that one over though. Oh man, I'm gonna have to send Beowulf's face over. That's not his name. What's his name? What's the name of the Basset Hound in Alice in Wonderland? I've drawn a blank. It's bad when we're both like, oh man, where's that thing we wanted to share? It was so important and I shared the wrong.
It's all right. Hang with us, guys. We're gonna show you cool stuff.
Are you bouncing some of your recent work over?
Yep.
It's been a while since
Yeah,
we've
no.
taken the time to share anything
I
that we've
wouldn't-
been
I
working
wouldn't
on.
Put my face in my phone like this right now if it wasn't for that. What'd you just say?
I said it's been a while since we've really shared anything
Yeah, right. And
that we've been
love-
working on.
this last week. It's just so nice finishing up all these pieces.
Well, that one hasn't come through yet.
Sending these over. Got more.
Oh, there, we got some of Jordan's stuff coming through now. Here we go, guys, with the mother load coming through. Let me unpause this. You can watch these bounce in. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, I saw you working on this one the other day. I was gonna pop my head in and check it out. So this is all the bio around this is Phil Robertson, correct? Is it all Phil? Am I correct?
Everything's Phil, yeah.
That tied in so nicely.
Thank you.
Nice job. You're still working on this one, correct?
First time I've ever done isometric stuff like that. That was a fun new way of kind of approaching it and trying to approach the light and shadow of it all.
Nice. It's one of those like
Gender area too to spend that much time in. That's for sure.
laying out that isometric grid. Once you understand how to like use those lines to build shapes off of, it just gives you so much freedom, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
these tricks look
and-
crazy, but once you start playing with them, it
And you-
starts to just fall into place. Like
you
it
can
wants to
create a
be
really
there.
systematic way to put light and shadow in there too, and that's what I really like. Is you can pick every side is going to get this type of light, every side's going to get the midtone, every side's going to get the light and the shadow, and the shadow, and so like systematically go about it all. But then you can come back and actually do your overall shadows and stuff. If we had one more session, we could probably get a little bit more in there, but just in terms of shadow, making it a little bit deeper back there, but I like it. I think we've kind of called it quits.
This is rad. This is a cool project that you're working on.
Yeah, thank you. It's funny how things start too, because I don't know. I just grabbed a canvas real fast and I'm like, I'm just gonna slather some, gesso over it, make one of these 3D things real quick and just be super loose and super as quick as I can about it. Like that was my thing. It's just like be as quick as I can, but also be a little bit mindful with things, but don't spend time over detailing or overthinking. So I just kind of slathered it on there and just kept slathering, kept doing stuff. And I should send a picture real fast of its most basic form where it started to. I think that makes it's just such an interesting process. But it all did it all super quickly.
Is this one completed?
I got a little bit more I want to do to it, but it's almost there. Okay, so if you scroll to the bottom now, I have some of the just kind of how it started. Progress shots of how I get it there. Which you might know, but other people might not. Not coming through yet.
It just takes a moment. We're hogging up all the bandwidth pushing this
True.
stuff.
Oh yeah, that looks so good.
There we go. I don't have the time lapse of me completing his face. I might be on another device. You see the area that we've yet to rework.
Mm-hmm.
But Absalom turned out great. The mushroom that he's sitting on, it actually wasn't red. We made it red so we could work with what was there. But oh, there's my menu bar. Well, we'll pull that up in a second.
Yep, still
Here's
send
some
it.
of Jordan's stuff that he's been working on this week.
Yep, just finished that one up. That was basically we got 5 sessions in on that.
All that crazy red tree noise. Come on. Sorry, guys, my menu's not popping up. There we go.
But a fun project. Honestly, it felt really quick. He kept coming in for 2-day sessions. So I mean, he only came in 3 times, got 5 sessions done.
Is this the same guy here?
Uh-huh. Different angles. But this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. I wouldn't be mad if he came in for a couple more sessions. We definitely could always do more. But also I don't know, I like the openness of a lot of it. I like being able to use that much skin tone for things. There's another side of me that could go in with like a lot of neutral grays and start doing a lot more with that and really fill it out. But something that just wasn't possible in the time limit that we
I
had in
kind
the
of like
budget.
how big some of the shapes are in this piece. A lot of your pieces are super duper tight, and I'll go to another picture of the shoulder, and this one does get super tight. But sometimes I think there's just magic in making those shapes bigger and bolder.
Mhm.
Sometimes like I feel like you're feeling like it's kind of a compromise to go that big and not do anything with those empty areas in between. But at the same time, I think that lends this upper portion. I think that gives it so much contrast from this very busy portion here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like equal and opposite. So, I mean, I just get the vibe that you feel like you had to compromise a little bit. However, I think this piece came together beautifully.
Right. It was the proper compromises. I see exactly what you're saying. And I do feel that. I feel I'm happy that I had to make some different decisions to be able to work bigger like that to get something done in a quick amount of time. It made me extra efficient.
Mm-hmm. This is cool. I like that this is all stippled. Is any part of this going to be saturated black, or is it going to be all stipple work?
We're going to really get into some deep shades. Down here, yeah, we only got the outline for that. I don't think anything's going to be solid black. I think we were contemplating either doing stipple work or solid black on the hexagons there. But we have a lot of deep shades to bring in to balance everything out. And we're going to do a lot of neutral grays in the in this isometric pattern that I have, so just like with the isometric pattern from the one we were talking about earlier, each side's going to have a different shade. So I'll probably do like, one shade of gray, maybe leave the top skin tone, and then do black for one of the edges on all of those.
Look, you see that right there? I just want to point out that that's my Guy Aitchison painting hanging on the wall in the background of your picture.
Yep. There's probably one in frame somewhere if it's at Red Tree, if we're at Red Tree taking pictures.
I think that's the only actual original Guy piece in the building.
Really?
Yeah. Brian, when Brian was at the shop hanging out for something, Brian Midkiff, he's been on the show before. He was like, I think that's the only original. And I was like, no. And I got to thinking about it. Derb's got several like large Giclée prints, but I think mine might be the only original in the building. Jordan.
Well, hell yeah, Fawn.
You got to give
so awesome.
You got to give Guy some of your money so you can have a painting too.
Oh, I will be. I will.
You're like, oh, I definitely will. Don't worry.
Definitely will. I contemplated bringing that one over there. We got some Guy paintings up here. We got 2.
I do love that painting though. It's just like this magical like dreamscape. I'm sure I've got a picture of it on my phone somewhere, but I'll have to upload it next time. You must have worked on this one of the days I wasn't working. I didn't get to see this one.
Oh, yeah. Finish that one up.
Isn't that outer space fun to play with?
Yeah, I love it.
Just
And
like
then we
jumping in and committing the colors.
Then we worked on like kind of some white in the hexagons and kind of fading back into everything else. You can see like some of them come out, some of them aren't.
Super cool.
Yep, that was a fun project. I
Oh, you got
definitely
a
like.
video here.
I love doing space stuff.
Looking crazy.
I
That
love
little middle
I
part
love
turned
that
out great.
galaxy. Thank you.
From a distance, you don't see how many little stippled stars you've got in there.
Right, there are
Once you get in, though, it's just
hundreds and
glowing.
hundreds and hundreds throughout the entire thing. It's definitely super speckled.
super speckled.
But I need to just start working on some better lighting when I take pictures at the shop. I keep overexposing most things. So I'll get there.
It's easy to do. Don't forget that I'll show you some settings on your phone.
I just need
You
to find a
you
way
can-
to, because I have the photography lighting too for it, and I can turn my lights off and use that. The problem is no matter what angle I get that at, because I go at the door there, it makes it so the other side shadows out.
Do you know how to change the exposure on your phone while you're shooting?
Yeah, press it and go down
Do
a
you
little bit
take the time to do that?
every time. Yeah.
You drop the exposure
Mhm.
down and you're still overexposed?
I mean, to a degree. I mean, I can make it better for sure, but I feel like there's a happy medium there. If my lighting is a little bit better, my mechanical lighting.
Are you using any polarizers or any filters or anything? You're just shooting raw?
Not yet. Yeah, just
Okay.
raw. I need to invest in a polarizer and a
Yeah,
screen for
I'd
one of those
say
lights.
the first thing to do is to bring your exposure way down. So one of the things when anybody who is taking photos of your tattoos, with photography in general, if something is too bright and overexposed, that means the data is just white. It's just white light and there's no data there. That means when you go to edit, you can't really enhance it if it's overexposed. So like as a rule of thumb, if you take your photos, and all you've got to do this is if you're on photo, I don't know if you guys can see clearly what I'm doing, but if you just hold your finger, you can hold it on a spot to auto focus. And as you do that, there's going to be this little sun that pops up. And when that sun is right next to that box, you can move your finger up or down on the screen and it's going to change your exposure. So when you change your exposure, it's going to dial the amount of light down a little bit. So your image isn't bombarded with just light. And then when it comes time to edit those photos, if you've dialed the exposure down and you've caught all of that data, all of that information, when you go to edit your photos, you can then bring your exposure back up. You can then enhance your brightness and contrast and like get all that information that's there. So
Yeah.
just by literally making your photo just a tiny bit darker, you're going to have more honest information, and that glare is not going to be quite so overpowering. So that's just like anybody that's listening, just bring your exposure down just a tiny bit or bring it down a lot. And then you're going to have a lot more freedom when you're editing and manipulating photos. And not that I'm saying like over edit, over manipulate, but like in my work, I'll just black the background out. You know what I mean? I'll just literally airbrush the background black and call it a day.
Right.
But like, even when I'm doing that, like sometimes I'll bump my contrast just so my blacks are black in the photo, or so that my whites are actually my brightest white, you know, but I try not to like manipulate the photo to the point where it's dishonest. I try to keep it as honest as possible. But like when it comes time to share photos, like there's a little bit of editing involved. So, but without even buying a new lens or any pieces of equipment, just drop that exposure down just a tiny bit, and then you can have more freedom.
Yeah, that's my favorite tool for taking pictures, is that exposure tool.
Yeah.
That's what I'm using every time.
Sorry to jump down that rabbit hole, but while we were talking about it, I just thought like it's that easy. Just hold your thumb, the little sun will pop up, and then you can change your exposure right there. It takes no time once you get in the habit of doing it. But like, to be fair,
it doesn't completely solve your lighting issues.
No, it doesn't completely solve. This is just one quick trick to help.
Exactly.
A little
right,
bit.
Right.
Yeah.
When your mechanical lighting isn't working perfectly and you get shadowed out halfway on the other side, so you have to compensate by turning more light on.
Well, one of the things that I've started doing when I'm photographing people in my room is we've got Jordan, my tattoo station and Jordan's tattoo station are across the hall from one another. So our lighting setups and everything are super similar. We've got similar Canon lights. He's just got a little bit more square footage than me and more windows. But anyways, I've started moving my clients around. Like sometimes it's good to have them like right under the light. Sometimes it's good to have them like right between two lights so that it drops on both. So if I've found that the way our rooms are set up, depending on where I have that person in that large open middle area of the room, I can get different shots just by moving them under the light differently.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you don't have to move the light, just move your person 6 inches. You know what I mean? Or just turn so the light hits this way.
Right.
So it's one of the things that I've been, I don't mind going down to the office and setting up the backdrop and the polarizer, and I don't mind doing that. But if I can get good shots in my room and not have to set a ton of stuff up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But when it comes to taking videos,
lately, but I do really want to set up a nice photography spot. I'm thinking of taking that big painting down I got, putting up like a projector screen or something like that, or just buying the actual like rollout thing where I could do like a couple different backdrops or something. Do like a gray. I could pick between gray or black.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's the backdrop for me. I just like having that backdrop. So I could solve my lighting issues by doing what you're talking about and pulling people away from the doorway and having people in other ways. It just also, when I go into editing, it saves us so much more time when I can just click on that back color. And if it,
it's not a
less-
bad idea
less editing.
if you want to take the time to like just take, like I've got the polarized film on the light over in my room. You could take that down to the garage and go in the open area of the warehouse and have your person stand in the middle. And then when nothing but just space is behind them, it's going to be the most beautiful black, and you'll be able to control your light source and the light refracting back to your camera. So you can like be a control freak about everything and get your light perfect with just the warehouse space. Like you just literally got to bring a lamp down. We're so lucky to have that space. Like,
we have every opportunity for doing all these things in any way that we want to do it.
Yep.
It's just
I like taking photographs
Carpe
of things.
diem.
I'm never done working early enough because I'm a night owl. But if I happen to be done working before sunset and I can get outdoor photos, that's always my favorite. If I can get like in a large shadow, like in the shadow of the building, and have like that ambient light just bouncing back softly, like not direct sunlight, but the ambient outside light, that gives you, I think, the most honest photos, because that's not a photo trick. This is what this looks like in sunlight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Case closed.
Cloudy days are also really nice.
Cloudy days are, because it's that ambient light that I was talking about, where it's not
all
like direct
it's all
harsh
diffuse.
sunlight, but it's like the diffuse light from the all the ambient reflections around. So it gives you this nice flat, even light. But if you're not in a shadow area, now you're going to have a heavy shadow on all of your
Right.
curves of the body or curves of the tattooed surface.
Yeah. All very true. All things to think about.
So as a
Photography.
collector, when your artist is like, let's go into this room. Let's go into this room. Okay, now stand over here. Now stand on your head.
I can tell you, it is kind of
It's
exhausting when
really-
you're exhausted. I mean, it's the last thing you want to do is any of that stuff. And
It
you want
all has
you want it
purpose,
over
though.
as quick as possible, but you're just gonna have to suffer through it.
Yeah, the nice thing about being a collector is you get this tattoo forever.
Right.
But the
This is our
artist
chance to just
only has
take
the
a piece.
photos to show, and the more clear, the better quality,
the more
like,
it's going to last, like a painting is going to last in some sense, you know, some record of this is
Yeah.
going to keep on.
all we have is the photo. It's not our treasure.
That photo might outlast your actual tattoo.
I mean, sometimes I've covered up my own tattoos, not on me, but tattoos I've done. That's
Right.
weird.
And I've known quite a few people that have tattooed that have passed away that I did big pieces on and things like
Isn't
that.
that a weird
And I have
feeling?
pictures of those tattoos. And so now
Yeah.
their picture of their tattoo is now outliving their tattoo. So the proof of their tattoos.
Isn't that a funny feeling?
there.
Like when all we hear is like, be careful, make good choices. It's forever. It's, it's a lifelong decision. Da, 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 da. And then when you think about like a client passing away wearing your work, it's like that was intended to be worn till you were 100.
Right.
It's
And
just
then
a funny
gone.
feeling.
The art
Yeah.
itself is gone, as the body. As soon as that casket's closed, then nothing about that.
Yeah, we regard it as a very
Tattoos.
permanent art, but it's not permanent at all. Not at all. It's very organic, and it only has the life expectancy of the wearer. A tattoo can't be handed down. It can't. I mean, you can be skinned and you can have your hide stretched, and those
Right.
things can
As soon
be
as you-
done.
as
But
soon
like
as you pass away, that
generally-
tattoo has lost everything.
yeah, no
It's
matter
only
how
there when your blood's
expensive or
under.
how valuable or how much work it took to collect or how much work went into it, like it only lives as long as the wearer. Isn't that kind of morbid? I mean, it's kind of special. It's kind of sacred. Like
I think
it's like
about that.
it's like a
I
mandala
think about that
for
a lot.
those of us that make the tattoos.
For my own tattoos, and also just for the way, as a tattooer and as someone who loves to paint and loves to make art, and I feel like art's part of why I live, and creating something that's going to outlive me is part of why I love painting and stuff like that. Like, it's not necessarily because I need some like legacy of painting. It's just like, cool, I get to create something that's going to last so long and has the potential. And so like the more permanent I can create something, create things in ways that'll be super permanent. I like that, but it makes me think about that a lot with tattooing, where we talk about how permanent it is and how long it's there forever. It's like forever, it's not there forever. Forever isn't forever, and our lives are not that long. So it's like it's the reminder that death is always there, but it's also a reminder of like the outside of that there's your personal ego connection with your art, of like how you connect yourself with your art and what it means to you, and how much like, oh, I have this out there, I didn't accomplish this thing. It's like you gotta let that go. Like that's nothing. It's not like that.
Gotta let it go because it's theirs. It's so different. So different than any other art, because
it's like a sand mandala too. You know what I mean? The Buddhist sand mandalas. They spend so much time
once it's complete
making
as an artist, you've got to let it go. It's not your baby anymore. It's the wearer's
it doesn't
baby.
exist. You
Gotta let it go.
So it's a wild concept. It's funny. Tattooing, so much goes into it, and so many like there's people doing things that are just like beyond, I feel like, what like a Picasso or like a Da Vinci would have done. You know what I mean? Out there right now, so many people killing it on like such a high end, where like I look at it and I'm like, I have no clue how you did that there. Like, that's just wild. And because it's so impermanent, and where tattooing, it's not there yet in the art community, like painting is and stuff, or I mean, we're like, no one's getting tattooed for $1 million. So like, no one's getting tattooed for 50,000, maybe 50,000, but like per session, per piece of art or something like that, $1 million, no one's really getting that from it. Who knows if we'll ever get there with it. But it's all treated a little bit differently, I feel like, then. the rest of the art community.
It is.
And
It is. And
I wonder why, because it's so like degenerate and stuff, or, and it's getting beyond that, but it's still, people aren't accepting the work that's really going into it, like people that are putting in the time to make the paintings that they're making. And you got,
I think the current generation of artists and tattooers are changing that stigma.
I
Like,
believe
I
that.
really do think that the growth that we've seen over the last 10 years is exponential between the growth that happened the 10 years before that. And that growth was exponential. So, you know what I mean? So like in the 70s, the limitations were endless.
I think
You were limited by the technology, you were limited by the inks, you were limited by the number of practitioners.
I
you were,
hear that. I almost always think tattooing might be that way. Not a degenerate thing, where it's going to end up being seen in like a very realistic
I
artistic
think
way.
it's branching off into different categories. Like there's
think
fine art tattooing, and then there's like, let's call it street tattooing.
Gallery, though, until you can put a tattoo in a gallery, I feel like that's where like there'll always be that disconnection between.
That's what makes tattooing special. It can't go in a gallery.
Yeah, no,
it
it's a good
can't be
thing.
exchanged.
I like that, and I love that. And I do, but also I'm just like trying to bridge the connection with
tattoos are the original NFT, cannot
bridge
be
the connection with
exchanged.
What is the disconnection between the art community?
One owner can't be exchanged.
Prestigious art community. We know our art communities, and those are tattoo related and so intertwined, and it's so much related with painting communities that we know. But there's also the whole modern art community and communities outside that we don't,
Yeah, I don't disagree.
touch base
I just
with.
think that we're in the middle of that like renaissance, that revolution, that like kids are going to art school now to become tattooers. Parents are seeing tattooing like good quality, classy tattooing for good quality shops. Like parents are like, oh yeah, I've been tattooed for years. Like, yeah, work hard and make a good living at this, son, daughter. Like, and then like how many women are getting into tattooing? When I started tattooing, it wasn't that long ago, but women were few and far between. Not that like there weren't a lot of women doing it, but there'd be like, let's just say, for instance, in any small town, 10 guys per one woman tattooing. Like we weren't unheard of, but there were many fewer of us. But when you look at the young tattoo community, women are definitely like an integral part of it, which is kind of cool. Like I've gotten to see that change just in.
And I bet in time it might, the scales might even be, changed hardcore. I remember because I just think about all the art people that were so into art in like high school, and just like, it seemed to be the tables were turned where it was more females than males that would be in the art classes and stuff like that. The males weren't taking them as seriously as like, some of the girls were and stuff like that. And I could see now that tattooing is not becoming as much of like a taboo thing, that where the scales start to change because it's just society's opinion of it is changing. So it could end up being that way, where it's just like, yeah, a lot of girls tattooing because that's, there's no stigma anymore.
Right.
So there's a lot more freedom to think and just act how you want, be however you want.
It's crazy.
Maybe something.
Art revolution right in front of our eyes.
I like it though.
I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I do think tattooing is the most sought after form of art right now. I mean, you've got like, we could say music and tattoos. I can't think of anybody else that collects art to any degree that like people collect tattoos.
When you put it in perspective like that, you're completely correct.
Like it's the most highly collectible, however, non-transferable.
Right.
NFTs are the digital tattoo.
So yeah, I think it's the non-transferable part. That's I don't know.
Like my back, it's cool. It cost me a lot of money. Is it valuable to anybody but me?
More people are spending money on tattoos than they are on paintings.
Yeah,
that's for sure. So you got a good point there. That's a great point.
Could we make our living being painters?
No.
But we can make our living very well being tattooers.
And to be completely honest, I'm super grateful for the money we make as tattooers. There's even in so many other art communities, it's we make good money. We do.
We have people waiting in line for work from us. That's pretty flattering. That's a pretty, like, could you imagine 10 years ago that you would just constantly have a list of people waiting for you to work on them? Like, no, I mean, I know you hoped.
And it was
hoped
it was at the top of like my list of, oh my God, I could only imagine being a week booked out. Yeah, no, it started from the bottom. Now we're here. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's not an overnight thing.
Oh man, I remember saving up for my apprenticeship. I saved up for like 2 years to have enough money to just be able to work my apprenticeship. And like I wanted to be able to work my apprenticeship and not have to hold jobs down hardcore and be able to spend my money doing or spend my time doing that. And using I just remember how grateful I was for that. But probably spent a year and a half making almost no money at all.
Yeah.
And just kind of living off of that and being just like so poor, so not really understanding the community. I didn't know there was a tattoo community. That wasn't something. I just knew there was like these tiny shops around town and I worked at one of them and stuff, but I knew I had to do whatever I had to do to become a tattoo artist. I was tattooing out of my house for a while before that. So like at first, I knew I had to get rid of my own little tattoo ego that I had. Oh, will you go on?
Yeah.
I had to get rid of my little tattoo ego that I had and like suck it up. I thought I knew what I was doing tattooing, and then I got into I got into the shop, but I knew I was gonna have to let that go and kind of approached it like I've never tattooed before at all. But I needed that because I just, I had so many habits of things that I learned not professionally. So I don't remember where I was going exactly with that, but started from the bottom, did whatever I could to get to a point where I could actually start making money. And it took about a year and a half of having no job and, just getting by on gas money and enough money to go to Burger King one time a day.
Isn't it funny how the impression is that we are like living high on the hog all along? We're like,
Yeah.
in reality, I don't know. Even now, I put almost everything I make right back into my art. Like all of my passions, all of my everything revolves so much around tattooing and so much around art and so much around educating myself and so much around, helping to hopefully educate others. Like
Yeah.
everything I
can
make
agree
still
with most
goes
of that.
right back into my craft. Like as good a money as we make on a daily basis, all of it goes right back into my craft.
Mhm.
Always, and I don't know. It makes
That's
me
funny
feel
when
good.
when I tally my expenses at the end of the year. It's just so funny
Kinda
looking
makes
at
you
how
sick.
much of like my money throughout
This
the year
is how
has
much
gone
it cost me to be
just-
an artist.
right. Whether it's necessities, but also like buying the tools to create new necessities, to create new hobbies and new things with my art,
I just
or
feel
new
like
avenues of like whatever I'm doing to be able to take whatever it is to the next level.
the more I put back into this, the more it's going to give back to me. So like,
Investing in things that are going to give back to you is very important.
yeah, like I like living simply now. I want to live very comfortably when I'm older, but like I feel like I'm still in that stage of my life where I'm still learning, I'm still growing. Like I'm not on the hit cruise control and put money in the bank phase yet. I'm on the like, okay, here's the next project, here's the next thing, here's like this is the next thing I'm working towards. This is the next goal for my career. This is the next goal for my art. This is the next goal for, whatever that is. Like I'm still in the phase where everything's going right back to my creative passions and, like
Right.
maybe into my 40s, I'll start like settling down and like changing my goals and actually like start making a nest egg for myself. But I still feel like I'm just in that educating part of my life. I'm still, there's still so much more to learn. And there's, like that's just where I am.
I feel that. I definitely feel that completely.
But it's just funny, the impression you would imagine that as good a money as we are capable of making on a daily basis, that like, I don't know. I feel like those of us that are just passionate, all of our money just pulls right back into our passions.
Yeah, I feel like that's what it takes to grow when you're passionate in these ways, and when you actually want to do something with it, you have to invest in it. And when you make money from it, you have, even mentally, you have to treat it like a business. And in a lot of ways, you have to treat it like a business, even if it is a hobby. And you got to keep investing. You got to feed it just like it's a plant. You got to water it.
Yep.
Keep letting it grow. I feel that. I feel like I'm not in a like a relax, make a nest egg mode. I'm in a like keep my money under control for a little while until I can actually like put a hold on myself and be able to spend my money. So many things in life right now just hitting me with big bills.
Yeah, it happens.
All of a sudden both cars break down same time.
That's a bummer. I know
Mhm.
that's been stressing you out, but you've been doing good.
Mhm.
You've been being graceful
And I
about
would
it.
like to say that we make a lot of money as tattoo artists, and we have to pay our taxes.
That can be scary sometimes.
Yeah, but when your cars break down at the same time, you have to do that. That's when it sucks.
It'll all work out.
Yeah. So
It'll all work
next year
out.
though, Costa Rica for my 30th.
Nice.
I think that's what we're
Okay.
planning.
I've always wanted to do Costa Rica.
I've never been out of the country, and Costa
Waterfalls,
Rica is one of the
birds.
places I would really love to go.
Hmm.
But we got to communicate on what conventions are coming up in, between probably January and that time. I definitely want to get a few in the books, one or two. I won't be doing a monthly thing. I just the bandwidth for it right now.
Yeah, that's fair. But I don't know. I'm ready to start traveling again. I've got some of my Michigan clients hitting me up, and several of them have been making the drive down. But it would be nice to, I don't know. I've always looked forward to my trips up to Michigan because I stay busy, I stay productive, but it's just a whole different speed. It's a whole different group of people. My schedule, like I'm not stacking like huge day after huge day after huge day. Like there are like shorter sessions sprinkled in there, which is nice. And then just like traveling to more shows. I just want to make myself more familiar with other convention circuits. I've been so like Hell City, Motor City, and like Paradise for so long that, I've been to a few villain arts conventions, but I need to go to more. I need to like become familiar, and I need to, it's just like, we talk all the time about how conventions are like family reunions. Well, I want to get to know these other families,
Right. Right. I feel that. I feel this dichotomy between wanting, and I wouldn't say a dichotomy. There's just the feeling of like, I want to continue doing those things and like meeting new people in the tattoo community and all that. And then there's another side of it where I almost want to push those things aside a little bit and like work on my art and really push working my art to the next level and trying to do something, with that. I feel like it's almost where I'm at lately. I'm trying to weigh out all these things in life and trying to go like, what
I feel like I've had
everything's-
the last 2 years just
everything's a
sitting
distraction
still,
to
and it's
another
making
thing.
me itch. Like my tumbleweed senses are going crazy.
I think I did the thing where I put the roots down harder.
Is that what happened?
A little bit. Where like now I've put everything that I need around me. You know what I mean? I don't have to leave my house to do all the things that I love to do. And I have more than what I can do. So it makes it so even when I leave the house, I'm like, oh, I want to be doing that thing. I want to be sculpting. I want to be drawing. But then I'm like, oh, but I also want to be drawing new tattoos and taking my tattoos to the next level, because I think that's one of the biggest satisfaction itches I've been needing to scratch lately is doing something new with my tattooing and just trying to take it to the next level and deciding what it is exactly. Honing in on something new, taking what I'm already doing to the next level, whatever that next level is. But I just think I need to spend more time with the pencil and paper and drawing and really just working out new inspiration and new ideas for things.
That's fair.
I don't like recycling, and I don't feel as though I'm recycling. I'm really loving the projects that I'm in, but I also there's something I'm trying to hit a nut that I would love to hit.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I love the tattoos that I'm doing. I mean, like I'm hitting the mark with like what I'm doing with these, with what I want to be doing. But there's another thing where I'm like, oh, what's this next step? You know what I mean? What is it that I want to grasp for next? Because I'm never going to be completely okay with anything I'm doing. I'm always like, what's going to be the next and how am I going to get it there? Like,
Yeah.
So need to get it there.
My phone's going crazy today.
Everything all right?
Potential spam.
Oh, I've seen that.
It's like 2 in a couple
Must
minutes.
be urgent.
Different states. Oh, man.
You ever feel that way though? With,
What?
with your art, where like, there's a next level you want to hit with it, and maybe like right now, I'm not saying right now, but just different periods.
Oh,
where,
absolutely. Right now I'm in the middle of a super fun period of growth. Like I'm learning new tricks left and right. So like that doesn't stop for me. Early on in my career, there was this point where like I wanted to be as good of a tattooer as I was a painter. and then I felt like I caught up. So then I delved into painting and learned more tricks. So then it's like, okay, I will need to learn to be a better painter. So that'll push my tattooing further. So it's like I'd learn these tricks painting, and then it'd be like the next several months catching up. And then I dive into some paintings again and learn a whole bunch of new tricks. And then it'd be like several months or a year of catching up. So like if you look at, I don't know, we've known each other long enough. You've seen it, like the creative painting streaks come in like very long, large spurts. But after that,
But they
there's
can
so
tend to be
much
in
like,
flux.
yeah, there's so much like once I like have 3 or 4 paintings that have evolved and I've learned a lot of new tricks from them, then it's like several months or a year of then learning how to turn those tricks into tattooable tricks. So there's this like one, I have to concentrate for a while to like feed the other. And then once I start achieving those goals with my tattoo machine, then it's like time to come back to painting. Like, yeah, I've been prepping some stuff in my basement for some new projects that have been kind of cooking, but I haven't started them. So I've got
Nice.
The ground's prepped and ready to go.
I've been finding lately, and it makes me really appreciate all the times when I do have time to really sit down and paint, especially in the past, having more times to paint and things like that, or times when like I don't know, it's just harder if finding time to paint is difficult. And I know everybody feels that. Anyone who tries to paint feels that way. And anyone who really starts to dive into it more and more starts to feel that way, because having a job and then coming home and then wanting to paint is difficult. But maybe you wanted to paint all day and then you get home and you're tired and you don't want to.
This is why I like having my teeny tiny little painting kit, where I can just like, if I'm stuck on a painting, if I'm actually like cruising on it, I can just take my little paint box out anywhere. That's one of the best things I've ever done for myself. And I've done it with my oil set. I've built myself a super portable watercolor set. And then I've got an acrylic toolbox. It's pretty small. It's probably the biggest but some of the acrylics, they just take up more space. It just is what it is. But, I love having like my super compact, like no matter what medium I want to work on, I've got a kit that will fit in my backpack. And when you've got a small kit like that, you can always just pull it out. You just whip it out anywhere.
Right.
You whip it out anywhere, Jordan. I can be sitting at a restaurant and I can pull up my oil painting kit and still have room for my plate. Like it's not obtrusive. And like, even though I'm oil painting or watercolor, but usually it's oil for me, but my little jars of solvent and my like jars of liquid, they're so little that like they're not putting off a lot of noxious odor. Like I can barely smell it and I'm sitting right next to it.
Right. You don't have to make it some big thing every time you do it. Like I think that's such great advice that,
I mean,
great advice. So many times in my life, that I've encountered that same thing where I had to make it some big extravagant thing to just set up my paint and spend an hour making a palette together and doing all this and this and that. But I'm realizing like, just get the materials out, put it in front of you, make a space for it, and you will do it. Even if it takes you, what I realize a lot of the time is where I'm like, cool, I'm going to spend an hour to paint. I'm just going to get stuff out and just break that a little bit. And that's kind of what I did with that painting over there that I just worked on with the 3D stuff, where it's just like, I have a little bit of time, like an hour right now. I'm just going to throw some gesso on there, try to make something 3D. I don't care if it doesn't turn out. If it turns out, it's cool. Whatever it's going to do, I'm just going to take a few steps to make it look okay. And kind of just got into it, it just dived. I was like, oh yeah, this is why I love doing this, because it feels so good just to give yourself the time to do it. But sometimes there can always be that hurdle before you step into it. Once you start doing it, you can dive right in. But sometimes it's just getting the materials out. Right now, I need to finish that big multi-faced one that's like coming out of the waterfall. I got that one hanging out downstairs. Feels good to be settled in here, so I can make the time to start getting back into art. And I've had all this like root chakra stuff and just like rooting and grounding back into the house.
Root chakra stuff. Talk to us about your root chakra, Jordan. What's that
even mean?
Let me talk
about the root chakra. So I would say your root chakra is the energetic center of your body, where it focuses a lot on like stability and like say like living situations and like taking care of your base needs. And so like when I say root chakra, that's me saying that I need to get my base needs in life taken care of before I can go on to the next step. And so like I was moving, so I needed to get my house in order. I needed to get food situations in order. I needed to just get back on track, everything in the house where it needs to be, foundation of my life where it needs to be before I can move on. And then you got your sacral chakra. That'd be next. And that's where we can get a little more creative. Start actually working with, creativity and start thinking a little bit more creative. But when I say root chakra, that's just focuses on that like fundamental base, survival point of life, which if you don't have in order, it's going to be harder to do everything. It's going to be harder to love things. It's going to be harder to speak your truth. It's going to be harder to create. It's going to be hard to find the time to create because you're not taking care of the things that need to be taken care of. If you find it hard to paint and you're a painter or you really want to paint, it could be because there's a few other things you might have to take care of before you start painting. And you might be looking for an escape, but you need to just take care of a couple things.
Mm-hmm. Root chakra.
Root chakra.
Love yourself.
Yeah. And take care of your teeth. That's in there too.
Take care of your teeth has to do with your root chakra.
Right, because you can't eat food, can't take care. It's a base, fundamental, foundational part of your life. And I feel like that's why your parents say that from forever. So it becomes one of those main lessons in life. Take care of your teeth.
All right. I've been spending so much money on my teeth.
Right, you're working on that root chakra. You're gonna feel so much better. I swear to God, I got my wisdom teeth taken out. After that, it made me feel like it cleared a lot of feeling and energy.
Really?
I'm not like sitting here like energy woo woo like crazy, like, oh, my energy's so clear now. But like it made a significant difference. And knowing that the teeth are something that affect that, just learning and believing that, it definitely made a difference in the way that I think about it and the way that I feel. I felt a significant clearing. Even if it's just that that looming thought of this needs to be done. And if I don't do it, something bad's going to happen. And the only thing that's going to change it is going to the doctor, going to someone to do this.
Yep.
I was even having dreams of like getting shot and stuff like that and like having to go to the doctor because of my teeth. I could tell that it was that because of like I'd get shot and it'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to die if I don't take care of this. And I can't do it. Someone else has to do this. So I actually have to do it. It's just my brain telling me to quit being impatient.
They say that your teeth have a lot to do with your heart health as well. I'm not sure why, but
I believe that.
I could make assumptions, but I've heard that, and I'm not going to make assumptions. But.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't truly know. I'm not going to tell you that your root chakra is connected to your teeth. They just say they like to say that
connected to your teeth bone.
Yeah. Your teethies.
Your teeth bones connected to your soul bone.
Yeah. Take care of the root. But what I was saying, I got that taken care of now. And I feel like there's a good foundation getting back to the creative. So
we're also getting into winter. I think I do tend to kind of haul up a little bit more in the winter and just kind of create.
Yeah. I got used to COVID too. I don't know. I was I literally put everything I had into painting the entire time of COVID. So I tricked my brain as well to think that I had more time than I did for a while. And then once I started working, I almost started feeling a little bit more guilty for not spending the time.
Oh, well, that's where you've just got to have, instead of guilt, you've just got to have realistic expectations of your time.
Oh, absolutely.
The demands on your time have
and
changed.
Those are the resolutions
change.
Those are the resolutions I come to for sure. But the mind's incessant.
I'm so lazy. I haven't painted in days. Yes, Fawn, but let me remind you, Fawn, that you have tattooed 30 hours in the last 48 hours.
Right. But then the incessant mind comes in where it's like, oh man, how long am I going to tattoo that until I have the time to do it again? It's like, I want to do it now. And then it's like, I don't have time to do it till next week. And then it's like, oh my God, next week. And it's like, oh shit, no, I got stuff to do next week. Oh, okay. Well, 2 weeks from now. Wait. 3
weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah, I can paint for 2 hours. No, that's a huge exaggeration.
I'm making appointments with ourselves to play with a paintbrush.
Yeah, the older I get, the more I have to schedule time for things or set aside time for stuff. And I'm such a scheduled person when it comes to work and things like that, but also my mind doesn't work in a scheduled way. I don't want it to work that way, and it's hard. It's like my part of me wants it because I want that for myself to be scheduled. But then there's the part where I'm so much more, my brain works in a more free flow state that I have to compensate and adapt for it. But I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. It's funny when you're dedicated to the task at hand and everything else just goes to the wayside. Cause that's what art needs sometimes. So like when you're so dedicated at the task at hand, you forget that you even have other tasks that come after this one. It's like time just goes out of the window because you're so concentrated on the task,
Right.
where one just takes longer because it needs to take longer, but now you've taken time away from this, or now you're running a half hour late, or, whatever the thing is.
Mhm.
I feel like I have that same, like, I'm so task at hand oriented, but time is just a variable that I, for better or for worse, I just don't concern myself with. Like, I think it is good for the task at hand, but it sucks at
Right.
keeping my schedule
Yeah,
together
for
for
me,
a whole day.
Right. For me, it's not something that comes natural. So like it's an uphill battle in the brain that has to like work and compensate to make myself that way. And that's where I think it's good, because I'm not. So I realize that it's like you can find this happy medium with it, because then there's like the free flow state, but then there's the, the structure. There is the structure there, because we all see how people get when it's just too free flow.
I don't
Can't
know.
depend on a damn thing.
It's one of the reasons I really like starting my day at 2:00. It's nice because it gives me time. If I happen to have worked really late the night before, it's not uncommon for me to go till like 3 and 4 in the morning. So if I've worked really late, it gives me a chance to sleep in and like get my wits about me. So I'm not exhausted rolling into work tired because I worked late. Like, I can get my rest. But it also gives me a chance, if I choose, I can go run errands, I can do grocery shopping, I can just like sit and chill with my animal. Like, it gives me a nice window of time to like have me time early in the day. I mean, and I say all the time, like, I'm more creative and focused in the evenings. Like, my brain just works better and more efficiently in those hours.
Right. I feel that. Well, looks like we have a special guest with us. Emily is
joined
here.
us.
Yes.
Say hi. Oh, hi.
The beautiful, the one and only,
Rolling.
the blunt rolling.
Queen Blunts.
Okay, let's shall we set up a microphone? Also,
If you want to set up a microphone, I'll just have Emily take your seat. Beautiful. There's a mic in the True Tattoo bag, or a mic stand, I mean. So how's everything been?
Crazy.
How's work and stuff going?
Work's been great. Working on rebranding a few of our products and our brands.
Nice.
So kind of getting in a new realm of business.
What products do you work with again? In case our viewer, this is Emily. This is Jordan's keeper. This is Jordan's keeper, Emily.
A little bit of everything.
Jordan's keeper and life partner, Emily.
Hello.
So what do you do for our viewers who haven't met you yet?
Yeah, so I'm in cannabis marketing. Work for a company called Trucenta and in Michigan, and we are fully integrated. So we have cultivation, we have processing, we have retail stores and all that good stuff. I've usually been focused on the retail market, working with cannabis education and customers, and now switching over to branding for a few different brands. We have Sweet Spot, which is our vegan edible brand.
Vegan edible.
Yeah, they're awesome. Made with a red seaweed instead of gelatin. And it's just, they taste so good. I don't know what it is. And I feel healthier eating them. And then we have a vape brand called Social Vape, and just beautiful. Have you tried the Social Vape? Did you try any of those from Ben?
If that's what he happened to have at Pool League, I got a drag or two off of one of them.
Probably. So they're full spectrum and have CBD enhanced. So it's just really like easy smoking, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the Godflower, which is like the brand I'm super stoked about, and just this OG cannabis brand.
Nice.
Thugging it out.
Thugging it out.
Yep. And I love it. And it's just so authentic cannabis, and just like kind of a homage to where the industry's come from, the people who were doing this when it was illegal as fuck and really had to work to get us where we're at, who all of a sudden got forgotten when licensing came out. And you know what I mean?
What are you looking for? It's in the other case. We're gonna get you hooked up, Emily. You're gonna be able to
Beautiful.
join us for real. Jordan's doing a good job doing this on the fly.
Working under pressure.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Yep. Boom. Nope, not there. Next flap. Boom.
Premature boom.
That was a premature boom. I thought he had it. He's almost there.
But yeah, it's great. It's fun working with new brands. It's fun sampling a lot of products. Been doing a lot of product sampling.
So when we were over in Massachusetts at Jiminy Peak, I was talking to, we actually shared one of the condos with Joe, who's one of Gabe's good friends. And I was telling you about this off air. He's like, I think the equivalent of you for his company. So I'd love to get together with like him and Gabe and you and me and just like sit down with a whole bunch of like, I've got rad class that I'd love to share, but like just do like a weed community show, like tattoo collectors and weed unite.
I love it.
But
They go hand in hand.
Yeah, I think we should, if you'd be down, I think we should just make an evening, like not necessarily a tattoo collecting podcast, but like just a cool
shoot the
event
shit and
for
smoke
us
some
to-
weed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah, Gabe's pretty hyped about that community, and he's doing a lot for the cannabis community as well as reinventing. So if we could kind of hop back and forth, I think that would be cool for just because genuine purposes. Like that's what I'm passionate about. Like, what hobbies do I have? You've known me for about a year now, at least, right?
Yeah.
What hobbies have you ever seen me?
I mean, aside from art in every form,
Tattoos
of that,
and weed.
Yeah,
like that's my life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so,
fish.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
fishes.
do enjoy my little community tanks. But
yeah, I think that would be amazing. I think, I don't know, connecting with people who are like-minded about cannabis is how you further break down the stigma. And
it's like we're at the same time we're working on breaking down the tattoo stigma and educating people there, breaking down the stigma with cannabis equally to show how, you know, if you're a lazy bum, you're gonna be a lazier bum. But if you're motivated and like you want things out of life, it's only gonna make all those things better.
absolutely. And like, I don't know, I think there's always that idea that
Let's see.
It'll be good.
Yep, you're good. We can hear you now.
okay. There's always that idea that like to be involved in the cannabis community, you want to get super high, you're all about that. Some of my favorite people I talk to are, you know, I don't want to get high, but I've heard that I could, you know, benefit from cannabinoids. Have you heard of THCA? I'm like, hell yeah, I've heard of THCA. Let's get you some. Like, there's so many great alternatives with cannabis that are not smoking, that are not getting you high, but like, damn, it's a vitamin.
My vitamins T, H, and C.
Right.
Seriously. And CBG and CBC and all the fun ones.
So here's a question for you, and this is not tattoo related whatsoever, but while we're on the topic of a tattoo collector's life, what have you heard about weed and let's call it by its proper name? What have you heard about cannabis and COVID? Have you heard anything about those studies that have been going down?
Yeah. So I remember like during all of the big COVID stuff, I was always laughing because there was like the COVID, if you smoke a lot of weed, you are less susceptible to getting it. But now I've seen the opposite, that the round 2 or the super virus or whatever, you're more susceptible to get it.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know. I personally think it's the same with everything. You can find research that points in both directions if you're looking hard enough. I don't know.
I just know studies have been being done, but I haven't seen or read anything conclusive at all. So I just wondered if you're way more in the loop than I am. I just wondered if you had any, like.
I can tell you, I know a lot of people who smoke a lot of weed. A lot of them have gotten COVID. You know, fortunately, I have not. But that was the weird thing. My sister got COVID. We lived together. We smoked the same. We smoked together.
Yeah, Jordan and I both quarantined because of it, just in case.
Yep.
Like just in case any of us were asymptomatic or anything like that.
Yep.
But
I mean, so 1 out of 4 stoners got it from the same exposure. You know?
Yeah, and like we roll blunts and we smoke blunts together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's the same as making out, but it's the same as making out.
Yeah. I was drinking her water. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I think there's so many factors that probably play a role.
Yeah.
The only one that I think has a little truth to it is that the like whatever O blood type is harder to get at.
Really?
Because I've known a lot of people who, myself, have been definitely exposed and haven't gotten it.
That makes me feel really good. My whole family, the person that we've been worried about the most is my stepdad, because he's got like early emphysema and COPD and things like that. But like he's what's the rare one? Is it O
I
positive?
can't remember
Is
which
O
one it
rare?
is.
Is that the one where they're like, your blood's compatible? Let us put needles in your arm.
One's a
Here's
universal
flyer
donor
every
and
3
one's a-
days.
Yeah.
He's the universal one, but it's
Okay.
O, whatever, which I can't remember if it's O positive or O negative.
Right.
Though.
I want to say it's O negative, the COVID thing. I don't even know what to call it. Myth.
Jordan found the buzz.
What?
I said Jordan found the buzz. Oh, there it is. I think it's the orange cable. It's a good thing we've got extras. Yeah. Hopefully you guys haven't been hearing a buzz the whole time, but we've had some like white noise going on in our headphones. These are also like
It was really just
the
me.
way low end travel headphones. Our other ones, the big goofy ones, are like noise canceling and super crisp. These are like $10, get the job done.
Right.
I almost kind of
I
like,
like
these.
these.
They're comfortable
Yeah.
though, right? They're,
like these
the
way-
sound isn't,
I'm
the
gonna be
quality
honest.
isn't there, but they're comfortable.
And they look way better. I mean, the way I see myself, I look way better.
Okay, so when we're like recording background track vocals, we'll wear the good ones.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, when we got the whole thing going on, we're not using the whole thing, and they're
I think if we
huge.
got the right adapter, we could, because those have Sennheiser mics in them too. That's why they were so
they're
expensive.
nice and they
Yeah.
sound so good.
Yeah.
They sound so yeah.
Oh,
Those
you've
are-
hooked yours up for gaming, haven't you?
Yeah, in every
Nice.
way, for music, for anything. I mean,
Yeah.
The headphones we got are literally like some of the top of the line gaming headphones.
Yeah, they're really nice. Everything else is Shure though. So we've got Shure and Sennheiser, and then these are the low end Sony. Not to plug all the electronics that get all my money, but
No, we're just super cool.
we try not to cut corners.
No, we
Try
try
hard.
to get the good stuff so the technology demons don't haunt us as bad.
But for
'Cause
like
if we appease them, by
sometimes
getting
for
good
the
stuff.
for the travel setup, it's kind of nice to have stuff where like these are like 10 to 14 bucks depending on where you get them. So like for instance, I accidentally left a set with Gabe's equipment and my feelings aren't even hurt about it. It's totally
Right.
fine. So I just get another.
Yeah, better
Where-
than-
$10
better
pair.
than-
And the other thing is they're collapsible. That's why I picked these ones out, because they would just fit in the tiny backpack the best. So I don't know. We could have nicer ones, and then I could have been heartbroken that I lost a $200 pair of headphones instead of like, oh, that's
Right.
$10 on
I think
Amazon.
if we were being pickier about our voices, and we were super extremely concerned about every little nuance of our voice,
These microphones are
maybe
really
we would.
nice, though.
but
These,
I'm not that concerned with it.
these Shure 55s are really nice. Like we can do whatever we want with these, and also two of the 4 travel mics that we have, like those are like legit recording quality. Like if we want to actually make music, we can hook up
Oh,
like a
yeah.
normal, like we'd have to hook up through your mixer. This isn't going to mix music. This is literally just volume.
Yeah.
But like we could really make stuff happen. It's nuts how much of equipment we have amassed.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have everything we need
And
for
then-
like a
then
a
add
moderate
in-
studio.
Then add
quality.
in, I've got a nice keyboard now. We've got guitars
I
galore.
was gonna say between the two of you have instruments.
Yeah, we could
Crazy.
we need to get on
Everything
this.
You
but
could get a
everything
whole
but a
band,
drum
a
set.
family band going.
But we
this
got the
room
djembe and we got your
is
floor
now
top.
We got the
a-
didgeridoo
is
up
now
here.
a music studio.
We need to start
need to
making
clap.
music again. When we were, it's getting winter time. We used to,
It was nice when
Jordan
we had
and I would
everything-
jam out when we were making art out in the garage. We need to start making that happen.
There's a garage even.
The garage.
Right,
Is your
we-
garage heated?
No, but there's the potential for that one little room to be.
Yeah, it's electrified, so we could put a big old
Yeah.
heater
Oh,
in
nice. Okay. Okay.
Basement's nice.
there. But yeah, basement's a good spot to jam. We could always set something up down there.
Yeah, we need to make it happen. We need some theme music.
And just now, Jared wanted us to take all our instruments out of there.
Well,
Those are
now
getting
that
used, though.
there's so much more going on in the warehouse.
Right.
That's
We don't
fair.
want them just chilling there.
It's fair.
anyhow.
It took up a lot of space. We did that because it wasn't being used for anything else.
Yeah.
So what's up with this torture event?
Oh, trauma.
Trauma.
Trauma. It's not torture. It's trauma.
Close.
So trauma. So in Columbus, there are two big Halloween parties. One is Highball, where they shut down High Street through like from Nationwide to the short north, and there's just a big ball in the middle of downtown Columbus outdoors. And then the other big thing is called Trauma. And Trauma is like this huge fetish party that's been going on for years. It's been put on by Evolved, which is another tattoo shop, like a staple tattoo shop in Columbus. And which is cool that like we're working together. They're doing it at Red Tree. Like that kind of like squashes any like rumors of competition or like, it's a cool thing. But in years past, it was at a big old church called the Bluestone. And I don't know if contracts weren't renewed. I don't know COVID standards. I don't, because you can't have as many people in a small space now. So for whatever reason, they're not doing it there. And they're going to do it at Red Tree under a big heated circus tent. So when it was at the Bluestone, when you'd walk in, like the main stage would be like aerial acrobatic performers, things like that, like suspensions, bands, like the main stage. And then there's like a mezzanine that looped around it. So you could be like on the floor, on like the level above or the mezzanine atop. And then when you'd go downstairs, there were all these different like fetish themed rooms. Okay. So like I'd like walk down the hallway, and you guys know how vanilla I am. So I'd be like, all right, that's enough for me. So I'd go back upstairs. Yeah, okay. Curiosity scratched. Okay, back upstairs. So
that's what Jordan told me. He's like, Vaughn was saying it was some like fetish thing. She's telling me all about it. I was like,
you weren't connecting the dots, right?
I want to hear about this from Vaughn.
So we went, and it's super fun. The performances were rad. Anne and the Androids was probably my favorite, and they're performing again, which is really cool.
Is that like a local band?
They are like a local dance crew that's like have you seen like the acrobatic strip pole dances?
Yeah,
it's kind of like that, but choreographed, kind
of like Cirque du Soleil type deal.
But they've all got like matching wigs on, and they present themselves like they're android robots.
Hell yeah.
So it's really cool. They have a really cool act that they put together, and they change costumes and switch things up. So
cool.
So I don't know how they're gonna have the circus tent set up. We'll have the Hell City stage, and I imagine that'll be like the front area of the circus tent. And then maybe the back will be divided into areas for the fetishy things. Or maybe there's going to be smaller tents down that like corridor behind Red Tree. I'm not sure like the logistics, but we've got the space for all of it. And then there's going to be vendors and food and everything in the warehouse and on the street. So
very fun.
Yeah. So it's going to be rad.
Is it like Theater Bazaar? Do you know about Theater Bazaar in Detroit? No. Okay. It sounds very similar, like just dark and like weird art, like different, suspensions and like theatery people and just like,
the Halloween party that they have at the Masonic Temple?
Yeah.
I think it's like that.
Okay.
I haven't been there, but I've heard about that party. A friend of mine goes every year.
I think it's Theater Bazaar.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you're talking about the same one.
Okay. Then we're talking about the same party, and that's what it's like.
Yeah. Yes. Hell yeah. Fun.
So that's going to be at Red Tree.
Yeah. So I guess we're going there one of the nights. It's 2 nights, right?
Yeah.
Yep. 2 nights.
Yep.
I didn't know it was 2 nights.
Yep. Friday, Saturday.
So I'll pick your decade. Like 1410.
1410.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Caveman. 900 BC.
Yeah.
This is my favorite decade.
What year did Wally happen?
Probably 90s.
No, wait, in the future, like Wally, like what year was it supposed to have taken place?
I don't know.
Like I want to show up in an inflatable suit as one of the Wally characters. Can I do that? Do you think people would catch the joke?
I think you can pick any decade.
You gotta have a hoverboard.
No, but they're in those little hover chairs where they're just like.
I know, but you could have a pretend seat behind you, and but you could use the hoverboard to move around. But it looks like they're little chairs.
That'd be so funny.
Do either of you want this?
I'm good at that.
I'll give it a lighter.
We're torching it today. We're slackers. We're forgetful. I've got lighters out in the van.
Yeah, I got 300 in the car, but 2 in here.
Yeah, I've got 2 in the house.
You know how many times I've made friends by having a torch?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. That's a festival move to do for sure. Whenever I'm at a music festival,
One time
Makes
I was
so many
down in
sense.
Georgia and I was hiking with my friend Katana, and we were like down a trail randomly, and like I was like, man, I wish I had some weed. All I have are dabs. First world problems. You guys have heard the complaint, like, meh, all I have are these really good dabs.
that's us.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was one of those days where I didn't have any flour and I only had dabs, but we're walking, and this guy in like patchwork shorts and like a hemp wrapped wallet chain and like a long shirt and like a sideways patchwork hat, walking not on our trail, but the trail below us. He's like, hey, you guys got a lighter? And I was like, no, but I got a torch. And this chubby hippie booked it up that hill so fast because we were just chilling on a bench that overlooked this other pad. He was up there. He's like, glad I ran into you guys. Exchanged numbers. Like, we made a friend that day. It's nice. It's nice how universe just makes that happen. Like, it was like, I was even like mid pout as I'm like doing my thing with my torch and my dabs, and hippie walking up the trail.
Can always rely on a hippie.
Yeah, it was
For that.
fantastic.
For that.
For that and only that.
I like how you ended it with for that.
But look, he had everything he needed except a lighter. Like, he wanted to meet us as much as I wanted to meet him. You know what I mean? And universe was like,
Got you guys.
and behold.
Have this pass. My friend Jordan is like that. She just has the wildest adventures and is always like, well, I had this really awesome nug, but didn't have a bowl. And then I met a friend who had all the stuff, but no nugs. And then we went into a hot spring, and then it was a mountain climb. I was like, always.
Those are the times where it's like, how do you not get abducted?
Like,
I just felt that universe wasn't going to do that to me
Yep.
today. I say that. Like,
Yep.
my family will be like, you did what? You went where? Did you have your gun? You didn't have your gun.
Yep.
Blunts over bullets.
Right.
Of course.
Kidnapped
Of
for
course
how
not.
long?
Yeah,
4
of course.
days? It was no big deal.
You
so my family asked me, like, do you ride one? Because they're like, oh, where do you live in Columbus? I'm like, well, it's not a great area, but we have a nice house. And they're like, well, do you have your gun with you? I was like, no. They're like, why? I'm like, so I'm probably smoking or weed very nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah, not two at a time.
one or the other.
Yeah.
Blunts over bullets. But like, I've thought it out. I really think, like, okay, if I got myself in a real sticky situation, like, just imagine any hypothetical situation. Whoa. I'm not the one. Like, let's sit down. Let's spoke this. Let me help you come up with a plan. Hopefully they'll be like, oh, this girl's not messing around. She can roll a blunt.
Right.
And then I roll up and they're like, and then I help them problem solve. And then
I feel like this is the beginning of a TV show.
maybe.
Fon's problem solving. Like crime
Yeah.
stopping.
Yes. You know what? This is a great
Crime
idea.
stoppers, problem
Yeah.
solvers.
Instead of like showing up with a baton, it's like, whoa. And I just like jump in with like a big fat blunt in my hand. Like,
Let's
let's
think this
talk
through.
about this.
Yep.
Let's explore all of our options. If at the end of this blunt, you still want to continue whatever perpetration you were perpetrating, then you can continue. But like, let's talk.
Let's try the blunt first. Let's just try the blunt.
Let's see what ideas universe bestows upon us.
I mean, that's usually my kind of motto. Like, fuck, if I'm upset or don't know what to do, like, let's try the blunt. Let's see if that helps.
Yeah, sometimes it's just a good like reset and center for me. Sometimes it's not even necessarily like to get high. Sometimes it's really to like calm my brain down, recenter, focus on what I need to focus on, and then
Right, exactly.
back on with it.
It's important to have something like that.
Hmm?
I feel like it's important to have something like that. You know, something you can go to that gives you a reset, that gives you that type of feeling. And I feel like it's true. God, weed's great for that.
Because I really do zone out. The only thing that's going to make me stop, like, looking at my phone or looking at work shit, like, oh, I can't, because I can't do that while I'm rolling a blunt. Like, only so many things I can do while I'm rolling a blunt, you know? So you have to pay attention for at least 5 minutes,
Mhm.
you know?
The magic of the blunts.
Mhm.
Do you get high when you get tattooed?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think it helps?
Beforehand, fuck yeah. After, of course. I can't tell after this. I can't tell if it's just because I'm too comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like it's worse after the breaks now. I think it's just because I'm comfortable. Like, I used to live for my breaks, like tattoo days. Like, oh my God, please can we go smoke a blunt? And like, love it. And now it's like, oh, I really want to, but going back in afterwards seems a lot harder,
Yeah.
you know, rather than just sticking it the fuck out as long as you can,
Mhm.
you know? Yeah, because it always gets harder afterwards. And I'm like,
You
oh,
get the
damn.
right. You smoke a couple blunts, your brain gets kind of trained to think that you almost forget about the pain. You're not really in it as much anymore. And then
Yeah, I
you
get
jump
too
back-
relaxed.
Right. And I could see, especially I'm the one tattooing you
Yeah.
lately, so it's like, you get a little extra, you probably get a little extra relaxed.
It was a whole new
Can
ball
see
game.
that.
I was like, wow, I don't think it ever used to hurt this bad.
I can relate to the
So,
feeling when guys
here's the thing to
tattooing me,
think
but I
about.
still love the breaks.
Do you think that now that you and Jordan are no longer just client collector or client tattooer, now that your walls are down completely, do you think maybe part of it that makes it a little bit suckier is that like you're not afraid to be vulnerable
Yeah.
and like weak, where like
It's-
any other circumstance you'd be like, oh, I gotta be tough, I got
Yeah.
something to prove,
Yeah,
like, do you think that actually like mentally changes the game?
absolutely. Absolutely. The first time he tattooed me, I didn't know what he looked like when I was going in to get it done. Then I saw him and I was like, very nervous person. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, this hot guy's going to tattoo me. Like, never had someone hot tattoo me. Like, fuck. What am I going to do? I was like shaking and stuff. I'm like, do I cancel? Like, can I sit here for 8 hours with this dude and look at him? Like, I don't think I can. And it made me, I feel like I didn't even flinch. I was just like, yeah, I have no feelings. I'm so tough. Like, look at me. I'm impressive. Like, I'm going to be the best client that ever sat. And now I'm like, oh, you're so nice to me. Like, you usually don't scare me when you touch me now. So definitely my walls are too down. So I'm going to have to, I already got in my head, like, I've already been psyching myself up. Like, yo, be ready. This is going to hurt. You're tough.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel like working on my little sister Sarah, I feel like there are some of the sessions that I've had with her where it's like, Sarah, just be tough, like we got to get through this, like I know it sucks and I know you want me to baby you, but like we got to be tough. We
Yeah.
got to get through it.
Yep.
Yeah,
because now he knows what a real baby I am already, so I can't like fake it, you know.
to be fair.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah, I'm sure it's different. It's weird too, like after having, or such a serious relationship too, and then to have me torture you.
Yeah.
It's gotta be a funny thing as well.
Because you had quite a bit of work before you guys got together, so like you knew each other pretty well, and like, so I just wondered if there was like a noticeable change or if you thought that was a variable.
Yeah.
But
Yep. Because this didn't hurt nearly as bad because I was still like, all right, be tough.
mhm.
Your ribs don't hurt. This shit don't hurt. Like, now if I did it, I don't know if it hurt.
Why do you hate me? That's usually what Sarah does when she's hating life. She'll be like, Fawn, why do you hate me? What did I do? I'll be like, I don't know. You're the one that wanted a dinosaur tattoo. I'm just
Right.
this.
Give me what you wanted.
I'm sure when we get into your life, there's times you're gonna be looking at me going, you're doing this on purpose. I know you are. I won't be doing it on purpose,
No.
but I feel like
No, I already know. It's just how it goes.
I feel like
it's
my-
all a mental thing.
they're like you're doing this harder than you normally would. They start like looking more and stuff. It's the same.
This is just the area.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Or I do go just really hard on them. No, I'm just kidding. I never do that.
Jordan's like, if that ink isn't splattering back in my face or hitting the floor, I'm not getting it in there.
No, but I can tell you though, if you're someone with a really, really bad attitude, I'm not gonna be light-handed with you. That's not. I'm not gonna fuck a tattoo up ever.
I don't
By
know.
any
Do you
means.
have any bad attitudes? Have you
Me?
had any?
No.
Have you had any
Not at Red Tree.
squeaky wheels?
Not
Good.
at Red Tree, honestly. I have
Good.
had a few like sacred and like plenty in time like before for
Mhm.
sure, but like if someone really, really rubbed me the wrong way, like, you know, I'm not going to go hard on their tattoo, but I'm not going to, like, I don't know, be as gentle as I would. Like, I would try to, client comfort's a big thing for me. So I'm always, you know, I try to, like, you know, I'm not just like so dry wiping as much as possible, like a back teen and stuff like that, and try to make it comfortable.
No back teen for you.
But like, I might not use back
I don't
teen,
like your shirt.
No back teen for
you
you.
know, unless they specifically ask.
I've had one that I'm like 1,000% sure that he did not like me. It was definitely not doing very nice things to my neck.
To your neck.
Yeah. It was like, so it was like a last minute stupid walk-in idea. Sister and I get little infinity signs on the back of her neck. 22 years old, 20 years old. So call the shop person. They're like, you know, we're like, oh, that's easy. No problem. You guys can come in like 8:30. We're like, all right, cool. So we get there at 8:30. They close at 9. So it sounds like, I think like someone booked these 2 artists to stay. So they were probably pissed that they had to stay for 2 stupid infinity signs. It was this hood ass shop in Flint.
In Flint?
Yep.
Girl, what kind of experience were you looking for?
Just to get it done. So we're just like, fuck it. Like, it can't be that bad. Like, it's a state licensed store. Like, they're not gonna like kill us. Like, we're gonna, you know, how bad can you fuck up a plain black? And it's not fucked up now. But so me and my sister sat down at the same time, 2 different artists. Her artist said hello and it was nice. Mine was just like, yeah, sit down. I was like, cool. No talking. Like, I was just like, right to town. Fucking sits down. From the time I sat down to shaving my neck and getting done, 6 minutes tops. 6 minutes.
Brah, 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 brah,
Big
brah,
scab.
brah, brah.
Over.
Oh, it scabbed so bad. My whole neck was bleeding. My whole shirt was covered. Not just plasma, blood down my neck and shirt. Like,
You like
it was bad.
reluctantly, aggressively
Got it in there.
murdered your neck.
He got it in there for sure. It's a tattoo.
That is a tattoo.
It is ink in my
Yes.
skin.
He
for
made
sure.
a mark.
Just
Yeah.
controlled blowouts.
Yeah.
Just controlled blowouts. That's all a tattoo is. Met a couple artists. You ever met anyone that said that to you?
Controlled blowouts.
Tattoos just controlled blowouts, basically.
That sounds like the old school way of thinking where they take like a 3 or a 5 liner and like do it at this angle and then like it'll give you a fatter line if you
Yeah,
do it
right.
like this. If you just put it in like this, it'll give you a fat line. If you put it in like this, it'll give you a skinny line.
You ever seen the way it
No.
kind of lightning bolts out? Like,
No.
I've been tattooing lightning bolts like that for years. Just kind of inject it in the vein.
Subcutaneous mark making.
I thought it looked cool.
I bet it did. I bet it did.
blowouts.
Yep.
Controlled. Where do you hear controlled blowouts?
Oh, I can't even say the names. I always laugh so hard at it. Never in my life have I ever took that seriously. But I've heard some people that said that seriously, and I was just like, God, I fucking hate you. Oh,
Yeah, that is definitely like
Take a
one of
break
the
from
old
tattooing.
school ways of like turn the needle sideways. You put it in like
Alright.
this. I've heard that. I've had people like give you some pointers if you
Right.
want them.
Thanks, bud.
I understand you've been doing this part time since longer than I've been alive.
that's from someone. Those words come from people who do nothing but blowouts. Everything is a blown out line. Everything, where they don't know the difference because that's what they do when they're so used to their work being all a blown out line. And then all of their clients know nothing different because they didn't ever know it in the first place, you know, any better. So they're just getting like lots
This
of
is
words.
just what they look like.
Pure.
This is how
blown
tattoos
out
look.
lines. They're very blue and very cloudy on the edges.
It's so funny because I never knew that too before, you know, meeting you. But that's why like old style I was like, why do they always look blue? Like, and now I get it. I was like, I just thought that was like the color ink they used back then or something. All
There's
these
a
weird
level-
greeny.
Yeah, there's a mixture of both for sure. A level of like tattoos over time will kind of because your skin will heal over it, but like that real, yeah, exactly. That real blue and like greeny color where they just look so old and like faded like that. That's because it took into the rest of the skin. The body was able to break it down so much more over time. Traveled to the lymph nodes because it was already right there in the fucking veins.
Oh
Controlled
man.
blowouts.
Controlled blowout.
That's
The nightmares that I've seen.
The evolution of tattoos.
I
Look
think
at it
that's
now.
something to just to talk about a lot, though. I don't know. Like, it's good to point out what bad tattoos really are, and like so people know. I don't want to make people feel bad about the tattoos that they have, but also to recognize a bad tattoo artist when you see one, and to recognize a portfolio of someone who you do not want to get tattooed by.
So on Monday,
And
I
if you're
joined.
tattooing like that, you need to work on your work a little bit, because some people are thinking that they're good artists while they're doing controlled blowouts.
So on Monday, I joined Amy Nichols on the Apprenticeship Diaries. I don't know when the episode's going to be edited and up, but one of the things we talked about is when I first started tattooing, I didn't have an apprenticeship, but one of the things that I like, they just kind of like came to me. I didn't even really have to seek them out, but the projects that I like took on first were a lot of like reworks, finishes, cover ups, train wrecks, you know, like where I could just like look the person in the face and be like, I promise you from my eyeball to your soul that this is going to be a better tattoo than it is now. Like, I promise. I don't know what I'm doing, but I guarantee it's going to be
than this
better.
shit.
Yes. So when I could go into the project with that confidence, like, I promise it will be an improvement. It will be better than what you have. So what I was able to do is I could like dissect the tattoo and be like, what isn't successful about it? Like, what didn't they do right? You know, so I had all these opportunities right off the rip to like learn from other artists' mistakes. Like, why don't I like this tattoo? Okay, well, so it's placed like not on the shoulder, but below the shoulder. So it doesn't really fit the arm. What else don't I like? And it could be like, well, it's just an outline and crudely shaded in. So like, is this something that I could just like finish shading properly, crisp up the lines and give it a background? Like sometimes it would be that simple and I could just make it better. Other times it would be like, okay, this is a train wreck and all we can do is completely blast over it. But why is it a train wreck? Let me put it into words. And I not that I would say this to my clients out loud, but like in my own, like just studying and learning from what was in front of me, like what makes this bad? What makes this person not happy with this tattoo that they're wearing? Let's pull it apart and let's learn from it and let's not do that.
Yeah.
To be honest,
So-
that's how I learned a lot about weed. It was just dissecting bad weed. And same kind of story.
Like when you're
Like-
talking about good weed, like what is it that you like about it? Like I like talking, like whenever we're talking, like you handed me a blunt when I walked in and I was like, ooh, this is like delightfully earthy. And like you could taste a little bit of pine in it. You could taste a little bit of, you know what, it tasted like a pine cone smells, like
Yeah.
kind of like earth, dirt, floor, pine needles. And like
Yep.
it tasted like that kind of. You can't talk to all stoners about that. Like those subtle, like, it kind of yeah, I guess it kind of tastes like dirt. Like,
That's the most difficult part about training like bud tenders and staff on how to describe good weed. It's like, I gotta show you so much weed. Like,
do you
we
think
talk
some
about it,
people
but-
just don't have sensitive enough like smell and taste buds to know the difference? Or do you just think it's
I think there's so much more that's like, because I feel like smell and taste are like the last thing I look at. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, first or off rip, I'm like identifying the bag or like what it looks like through the package and looking at the nug structure. Is it super dense? Is it super larfy? If it's like larfy, what do those leaves look like? What's the color on them? Like,
Mhm.
usually if it's a discoloration, you can tell there was a problem. If there's discoloration in general, there's usually a problem. If there's a lot of small nugs, it means something happened, or the like, you know, typically some strains, of course, grow that way, but especially like in my world where you're looking at all the same warehouse strains, you know what I
Right.
mean? There's 40 strains that rule the Michigan market, and everyone's doing a Blue Dream. Everyone's doing a diesel, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Or a petro. So, or like animal cookies or something. Everyone loves that.
One of my Michigan clients has had the same Blue Dream mother plant for over 12 years.
Of course.
He's got the most consistent hash I've ever had. It's always
hell yeah.
exactly the same and
Oh, it makes
fantastic.
great hash. I know a lot of people do Blue
They
Dream
make a lot of
hash.
edibles with it.
Hell yeah.
They're like on it with
Full
edibles.
spec edibles.
Yeah.
Love it. That's the only thing I fuck with.
Yeah, they're nerds.
I
They're
don't-
super nerds.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Most weed people are.
Yeah.
In their own, like,
Yeah, it's almost like the way that tattooers fall in love with tattooing and art and the community, and like it's fully submersive. It consumes your life. when you get bit by the weed bug, you get consumed by botany, and not just botany in general, but this specific niche of botany where like you
Absolutely.
nerd out about every element of like the organic chemistry from start to finish of your product. And you have complete control of that, starting from
Complete.
like totally neutral RO water. And then, you know, you can build up, whether you're going hydroponic, you can build everything up from totally neutral,
Mhm.
or you can do
Go
the
from
same thing with
seed
your
and
soils.
Really, like just
Mhm.
really do it from start to finish.
Yeah. And
And even if you don't grow, I always find myself, I'm like, I don't know much about growing. And then I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, oh, I know so much about like plant stages of marijuana. I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know shit about the plant stages of green beans, but I know a lot about
I
Right.
can't wait till the time in my life comes that I can experiment with growing. It hasn't happened yet. I can't wait though. Like I feel like it's going to become a huge hobby, and it's going to become very time consuming. So it's almost going to be like, the time has come. Do I get a new puppy, or do I start to grow a tiny grow? Because by then it'll be rec in Ohio,
Yeah.
and I'll be able to grow, you know.
Coming soon.
Yeah, I think it's on the ballot this year.
Yep.
I don't think it'll pass. It might. I'd be dope if it passes, but I bet it'll be close this year
There's
and
a lot of
pass
money
next
trying
year.
to be in Ohio, so
It's true. That is true.
I bet it passes.
I hope it does.
I bet it passes.
I'm just trying to be a realist, and if it doesn't, it will next year.
yeah.
I like your side of it because it doesn't create an expectation. So
Right.
So you're not letting
Realism.
Yeah, the
Right.
fact that it's there is a huge step.
Yeah.
For
huge
rec.
win.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge step, because like the medical laws in Ohio are weird.
They're weird as fuck. So I am a little weird about that. I mean, rec laws could be just as weird. It could be a 30% tax. You know what I mean? Like Michigan does 16, and we have one of the smallest in the country. I think there's some 30%ers out there in the West, and it's like very expensive. And my chief ass is very much like against that. And I love so many of the products we represent because like the goal is to be affordable.
I wonder what the tax is in Vegas, because the weed I got at the dispensaries and the edibles were great, but it
Yeah.
was expensive.
Well, I don't know. So I don't know what the taxes are.
It could have just
Probably
been the
similar.
dispensaries I went to were, you know,
We have a gem in Vegas. I hope we can find it when we go back. But we were getting great deals, great
Oh,
flour.
man,
like
so much better.
like
than,
$100
places
halves and
Planet,
stuff.
Whatever,
yeah,
and, like, all that
yeah. We went to
stuff.
the big ones, and then we went like off the cuff. We stopped at this little one, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
like
we got so
these
much
bougie
weed for,
little
like,
cabinets
I'm
all
always a
over
fan
the
of
place,
that.
and I was like, "It's how much a gram? Oh well,
Well,
wait, why is
get
this
a lot
one
of that.
discounted?" And they said whatever it was, and I was like, "I'll take some of that."
Yeah.
It was one of those like,
Right.
there's
you
always
discount
so
it
many
for
of
that?
those. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
so
Little
it was
ones.
cool when they just like put the menu,
Exactly.
and I took the time to like actually read their menu and see
Mhm.
what things were, and that's where it was like, well, why are these discounted? Like, are they just like, because I kind of think all dispensary weed is a little stale.
I mean, it goes through such a long
That's what I
process.
mean. Like,
There's
it's
so
gone
many
through so many
people,
hands.
they'll
It's in a
call-
little jar, so
Yeah.
it's dried out. Like,
You have to go through testing. People call me like, I want something that was grown last or harvested last week. We're like, the curing process takes 10 days. The lab's going to take anywhere from a week to a month to get there, get tested, and get back. Depends how backed up the lab is.
so it can't go to the lab until after it's gone through the curing process.
Mhm.
Bummer.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why, but like, you'd think that like,
Pretty sure that's how it is because I know then they have to like recheck for mold and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So either way, it's a month between harvest and getting it back from the lab at the very least. And then it has to go through packaging, goes through labeling, goes through secure transport, then it has to go through the store, go through inventory,
just so
has
many
to go
steps.
through marketing.
Each step is a week to a day,
Yeah.
or I should say a day to a week. Like each
Yeah.
step of its journey.
Yeah.
Post harvest.
Yeah. Theoretically, it could get done quickly, but when you're doing things on such a large volume and there are so little resources, just like every other industry, cannabis industry is short staffed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people like, well, I'm sure like, well, I could
I
work
think a lot of
there.
people are unaware of how many jobs are popping up in the cannabis industry.
Definitely. But
Like-
they're also unaware of like the qualifications. And that's like what everyone in the cannabis industry feels. Cause I've had so many interviews or read so many resumes where like no job history, like
Mhm.
ever. And, misspelling words, just not putting
Where,
any
like,
references.
in reality, you want people that have had retail experience or have dealt with
This
the
is like
public
any
or
other,
have horticulture
Yes. or at least be, you know, I'll ask them, why do you want a job? Because I really love weed. And I think it'd just be dope and easy to have a job in cannabis. If an easy job is what you're looking
It's
for.
kind of like people that want to be a tattooer because they think it's easy, fast money. Jordan and I spent a half hour talking about, like, we put all of our money right back into our passion. And that's what it's like.
And how
with
many
growers.
years did it take for you until you actually made money? Were you making money when you're fixing blowouts? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that shit doesn't come easy. You put in the dues.
Well, and it's funny because, like, even in my personal life, so many of my, like, financial goals are like towards new equipment or new this or new that, or let's
To
try
upgrade
this,
your
or-
level of art.
Yeah, so it's where, like, it just goes right back into the passion because, like, it my passion is what feeds me, so I feed it.
Yeah.
And I feed it generously.
I like that.
Feel that.
I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
I feel like this is a good combination of weed. That was prolific. Feed your passion and it'll feed you.
That's really great. I might be using that brand.
It-
Coming to you soon.
it's just the same. It's the same in any kind of, I think the weed community, I think it's an art. Like, I keep calling it botany, and I think botany is an art. You know, and now that you guys have learned how nerdy it is to learn how to, like, kind of like play God and creator over a tiny ecosystem.
Yeah.
You guys jumped in the deep end
I
with
mean,
salt
even my
water.
house plants I'm so proud about right now. They're
Yeah.
killing it.
Yeah.
It's
Finding
so fun.
finding like the spot where everybody's healthy and happy.
Mhm.
But it's just,
And in cannabis, there's so many avenues for that. I work for a company with over 200 people, and we have 10 locations between processing, cultivation, all that fun stuff, our offices. And there's so many passionate people in so many other things. You know, you'll talk to our cultivation team, and obviously they're the ones passionate about the products or the actual flower, you know, and the soil and all of that nerdy stuff. And they nerd out about it and can talk forever. You talk to processing in the lab, and they're the chemists that are coming up with the formulas and are nerding out about the 2% addition of CBG. You know, like, then you talk to retail, and the bud tenders are super stoked that they just got to help some lady with her dog's hips by offering our CBD treats. Talk to marketing, they're excited because we get to put together a promotion that helps, you know, raise money for breast cancer awareness. Like, everyone, there's so many realms in the cannabis industry that you get to be a part of it, whether you're growing it, whether you're selling it, whether you're packaging it. We're all working together to, like, uplift the community. I feel like the same thing happens at Red Tree because you're vertically integrated. You know, all of the warehouse people are just as much a part of the tattoo community as anyone. And it's because they help lift it up in a different way. You know, the office managers at Red Tree are fucking phenomenal. You know, running social media, lifting you guys up. It's a team effort, and it's really cool to see that that's how it is in, you know, another industry where there's a stigma against it, and to really break that,
like
you have to work
breaking
together.
barriers. Yeah. It's funny and cliche to say, but, like, in both realms, it is our responsibility to break the stigmas. Like, I like coming off as a polite stoner. Like, yes, I smell like weed, but I'm still gonna hold the door for you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, yes, I just put this blunt out to be polite as you approached me, but I'll still, like, move out of your way and make life easier.
Right.
or
Still
you
treat
know.
you probably better
Yep.
than most people around you would treat you.
Yeah, that's the best way to break any kind of stigma. And I feel like I go down the manners rabbit hole a lot, but I feel like it's our responsibility if we do want to break the stigma. If we want tattooers, tattooers, tattoo collectors, if we want those people to be respected, if we want our people to be respected, then we need to be, like, the best example of a person. And, like, as a stoner and as, like, an open smoker, like, clearly, I mean, you still have your dreads. I feel like I still look like a stoner with or without them. But, like, when you wear it on your sleeve like that, I feel like it obligates you, you know, if you care about erasing that stigma, that's where it obligates you to be ultra polite. And that's where it obligates you to go out of your way and do the extra thing, just to be that extra step better of a person, just to break the stigma, just so it can be like, oh, the stoner walked up and I thought this and this and this were going to happen,
And
but they
then-
had this solution and that solution. And
I love
Like-
that. I love when I walk into a meeting, I smell like weed clearly, and then I sit in that meeting and I participate.
Kill it.
And I have great ideas, and I'm respectful with my coworkers, and I ask their opinions on things, and we have a productive meeting. It's like, hell yeah, that's what the cannabis industry is about. So it's very frustrating when half the resumes are like, I just want an easy job. I'm just looking for something, I want to be a part of it because there's money to be made. It's
Where
like,
you're like, nah, we need somebody equally passionate who's going to give everything the way that we have already given everything. We don't need a lazy bum to be the weak link.
yes, I regularly tell my new people about the times where I was like hiding with the lights off because the police place across the street was getting raided on like a Monday at like noon. And I'm like, oh my God, open sign off really quick, lock doors, turn lights off. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go outside. There's literally like 30 ATF agents out there. Like, now they're turning around in our parking lot. Everyone's looking over here. Like, fuck, what do I do? I'm 23, managing a shop that in the middle of the hood that I just am there all day, every day by myself.
Yeah.
And, eventually had an awesome team with me. And it's cool that most of them are still in the cannabis industry crushing it too. So it's like so many of us started in these really fucked up situations, where we were worried about people robbing us.
Mhm.
And, we were getting followed. I've been followed home from work so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they assume that, like, oh, will you manage a dispensary? I bet you got a pound on you. Hell no, that is not how that works. Like, this is not how that works at all. We're not that dumb. So I always have to remind the newcomers that, like, there was a hard history here
Mm-hmm.
that led us here. So when you see everybody acting with a shit ton of passion,
Well,
There's a
so
reason.
why is it so hard to break into the cannabis community? Because you've got to earn your stripes. Why is it so hard to break into the tattoo community and be taken seriously? Because you've got to earn your stripes. It doesn't happen by accident. You know what I mean? Like, you may wake up and be a gifted artist or a gifted tattooer, but like, you've still got to learn how to treat people, and you've still got to learn the business, and you still, like, there are just it's always a element of you kind of gotta start from the bottom. Like, that's just, you enjoy it more, you treasure it more, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
your accomplishments mean more because you put up with the muck, you put up with the muck
the
before.
muck.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, you've just gotta, if you want to be taken seriously, you've got to earn those stripes, or you've got to show why you're passionate, or you've got to show, like, in either community, like, they're both guarded, and they're both kind of like, we don't want clowns in here. We don't, and
It's because we face a stigma already. So it's inclusive, but it's inclusive if you're genuine. I feel like that's the key thing, because
boom.
newcomers
That's
are
a great
welcome.
way to say
I
it.
love my freshies that are like, I've never tried weed. I've always been afraid, but I'm dealing with anxiety. And some of my girlfriends told me it might be helpful.
Don't you feel like it's
Yes.
almost like a
Welcome,
privilege
baby.
to, like, you've never smoked before and you're curious and want to smoke with me? Like, hold on.
Like, yes,
Let's
I
get
got
this
you.
right.
I
Okay.
got you.
Or like the
Yes.
first time somebody wants to do any form of hash, whatever kind of dab, whatever it is, like, first it's like, oh, you've never done this?
Right.
Well, let's have a little lesson. Let me explain how this works. Let's explain how much is the equivalent to how much flour. Like, I like having that discussion with people first, so it's not like one rip and they feel like they did too much and an anxiety attack. It's like, oh no, I'm going to give you like I usually say like a BB is a good dab
A BB.
amount. Yeah, like a BB. Like when you're first starting out, like if you've never done a dab before, and then like once you get used to the BB, you could go up to a rat turd. I don't know, maybe grain of rice, but I think a little hardier than a grain of rice for the up step from a BB. But like, I like explaining to people, like, that's approximately half a joint in one hit. And I feel like when people know that, they don't overdose. When they know, usually they share a joint with somebody and
Right.
put it out, or they smoke half a joint, or they smoke a portion of a joint, then I'll even make that dab smaller. Like, or like with the nectar collector, it'll be like, just tap it 2 times. You know what I mean?
taps.
Yeah, don't just 2 taps. That's all you need.
I always
know?
just push for temperature control. If you're new and dabbing, temperature low.
I feel like that's the responsibility of the person preparing the first dab, is to keep the
Absolutely.
temperature right.
Absolutely, lower the better. Especially like you're already gonna get high, so who cares if you don't get your full cannabinoid intake? But you'll get the full terp intake,
Yeah.
and it's not gonna kill you. And I think that's where people fuck up. I remember when I first started dabbing, it was 10 years ago, and titanium red hot nails and black dabs. You
Right.
know what I mean? You're
No
like,
kidding.
oh, and this one's not soupy. It's
No
good.
kidding.
Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Fortunately,
straight up was
I
shit.
started out knowing to heat it to red hot, let it come down a little while.
I was taking them off red hot ass nails for a little while.
yep. Every email at every party.
I
at
thought
Well,
that was the
college.
right- I
you
thought
know,
that
you
was
know,
the right
every
way to
now and
do
then,
it.
even when you know better, especially with like quartz bangers, where you can't really tell the difference by looking. Sometimes, like you know better, but you still rip it too hot, and it's like, oh,
Why did I do
I
that?
burned my insides.
Yep. It's the worst. The worst.
That's our lesson to stay humble.
Yeah.
Mhm.
First dab I ever gave was to a roommate, and it was when CO2 oil was cool, and in a like plastic like syringe. So I had to like squirt it on the nail. I got it too close, so it started melting the plastic. So then it was like stuck. So I was like really pushing on it, whole half gram on the nail, red hot. This is when we were like first dabbing too. I killed this girl. I killed her. It was bad for her.
Sad day.
Yeah. Whoops.
Sad day.
Whoops for her.
So we've been talking for like 2.5 hours now.
Mhm.
You think I should text Lauren and let her know we're wrapping up soon?
I would probably say so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Amazon says they delivered my package when there's no package.
Is that a backtrack? Oh.
No, but the neighbors across the street have a package. It looks about the size of my package. They've given it to someone else.
Well, looks like we're gonna get another one.
You're not gonna go across the street and check? I would.
To someone's doorstep
Mhm.
that I don't know.
You want to borrow Lolo?
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, he says. Oh man. So what you got coming up this week? Anything you're excited about? Any cool projects?
Yeah. You know, I gotta look at my schedule this next week. I don't know what I have going on.
I think you're working on the cool robot, the comic booky.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
I think that one's
That's a
this
fun
week.
one. You have lots of line work on that. A lot more line work and just fill. A lot of black fill.
I've got
Shading
2
and
days of
stuff.
outer space next week.
Ooh.
One on Chris Warner. I really want to have him on the show. He has actually had his own podcast. And he started it from the bottom like us, but he is a beer nerd, and his podcast was about growing his own hops and crafting his own beer. So he can nerd out equally about beer the way that we can nerd out about weed.
Absolutely.
So,
I was
yeah.
gonna say they're so similar.
Yep. He and I have nerded out at some of our sessions just about just the botany and the
Terpenes and yeah.
just the play and the magic that can happen. It's one of those, like, it's an art of passion. It's definitely not an art of money. Like you don't make money making craft beer. You know what I
No,
mean?
yeah.
And you definitely don't make money making a podcast about making craft beer. You know what I mean? It's kind of like this for us. It's, you know, we do it because first of all, we love it. And the word you used earlier, the genuine, that's it. That's the ticket. It's genuine for us. And we get to share like what we're passionate about and, you know, what life is like as tattooers, but what life is like as collectors and for collectors. I love it when you're able to join us.
Thank you.
Mhm.
It's always very
Me too.
fun. Yep, I was like, oh, it's blunt time. I hear them down there. I'm doing that.
It's blunt o'clock.
Oh, all right. Well,
Has
should we wrap up?
Lauren joined us yet?
No.
Let's wait till she's with us so we don't. Okay, she's got anything to share.
Oh,
Are you building a thing?
damn you, Amazon.
You want me to go get my dog? And you want me to just walk across the street and get it? I'll put my hood up. I'll get my Detroit lean on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Jordan's like, you know what? This is sounding better and better. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine and we were talking about how he bartends, and we were talking about how like when I bartended, I could tell like who were locals and who was from where by like not necessarily just how they spoke, but like different leans. Like the Detroit, like there's a specific hunch that people from Detroit have, and it's totally different than the posture that people in Chicago have. Why? Because it's bone chilling cold in
Right.
Detroit. Like it is steel and stone. And when it is cold in Detroit, it is cold. And that river is always cold. You know exactly what I'm saying.
It's
So,
seriously
like,
so cold in
you
the
can-
city. Like
You can
At
see
least
like that
live 15
specific
minutes out
hunch
and-
that people, you know what I mean? Like the
This one.
elbows come in.
this,
Yep.
right?
The hood's
Yeah.
up, elbows in, but your head's like tucked back into
But
the
you
hood
can't be
as the
looking
wind
down
block.
because you're in Detroit. So it's
So
exactly
you're like
this.
looking forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the
That's exactly right.
yeah, there's a very specific Detroit posture, and like I can spot it from a mile away, and I love it. I love that I can spot it, but I love that like I know the difference between like the Detroit lean, the Chicago lean, like everywhere around us, even though we're like the Midwest, and you would think it was all so much more similar. Like every community is totally
It's
different.
so different. Columbus is so different than Detroit.
Isn't Columbus laid back?
I think I haven't had an extremely great view of Columbus yet because I live off Parsons. But
Parsons is a long road.
yeah,
You're safe.
I was like, oh, whoops.
You're right.
But well, too comfortable. Yeah, so I think our area is not like the best depiction of Columbus. So yeah.
We got to get you guys out more because
Yeah.
there's
We've
we're this area is like the melting pot between like what has always been like a super working class, middle class
Yeah.
area, and then German Village is like upper middle class. So this is like literally the melting pot of those two.
Yeah.
But what we've got going on right now for like this 3-year period that we're right in the middle of is we've got all these new housing developments and
Yeah.
stuff going up. So people that were wandering more downtown homeless area, they've gotten pushed to this area. So give it another year and they're going to be pushed even further south. So a lot of the riffraff that you see, they're temporarily displaced because like Columbus is growing so fast. Like
Yeah.
gentrification is a word that gets thrown around a lot, but we're in this area is, it's all
just-
residential.
Are there less resources? It just feels like there's less resources here. There's a lot of homeless people in Detroit, but it's different. It's different here. So I don't know if there's just less resources here or
I think it just happens to be because that mission's up the road. It's
yeah.
like there are a ton of resources
I
for
just feel
homeless
like
people
all
here.
over when I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Mhm. It has gotten worse. It has gotten exponentially worse. Like it's probably 10 times worse than it was 4 or 5 years ago.
yeah.
So, but like I said, I think it's just because the city is growing so fast that like so many people are coming to the city and so many people are getting displaced, and these problems are happening more quickly than the city has means to take care of.
And it's happening in a time of a pandemic where finding affordable housing is hard for everyone.
Mhm.
And prices are up, wages are down, everything's fucked. So yeah.
I
It's just
think,
not the greatest time to move to another like up and coming city. You know what I mean? Because Detroit's going through the same shit.
yeah.
It's just I feel like we're 5 years ahead, and there's a lot more to do. Like there's a lot more money going into Detroit right now. The past 10 years with Quicken Loans,
Mhm.
a lot of money going into Detroit.
That's fair.
Yeah, but I feel like the same has been said about the Children's Hospital from every news show I listen to.
Mhm.
That since that's been here,
Yeah,
a
the
lot more
Children's
money is going
Hospital
into
is
this
a
area.
huge thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. And actually the growth around Children's Hospital is why they're protesting a lot of new growth in the German Village area, because they're wanting to kind of spread. And now you're getting into historic German Village, which is what we're on the border of.
yep.
So,
Interesting.
yeah.
I always like talking to you about Columbus stuff just because you know so much about it here, and we're still learning.
I
So
love
it's-
Detroit. Todd and I were talking about this one day. Maybe I can't remember whether it was the day that you were on or not. I can't remember. But Todd and I were just talking about like how much I love the city of Detroit. If I'm not in Columbus, I think Detroit's the only other city I'd be in. Like
Right.
Columbus has been really good to me though.
Yeah.
Like it's been an incredibly good city to me. Ohio in general has been really good to me as an artist. But there's just, I don't know, there's a grit to Detroit that Columbus doesn't have. You know what I mean? Detroit's a city of survivors.
So,
Detroit's
okay,
a
that's
city
the
of people that
difference.
have gotten kicked in the teeth over and over again by the system, by each other, by
And to be honest, I see that part in Columbus still, but the difference is Detroit does it with a flair. You know what I mean? It's the Detroit, like, yeah, shit's tough as fuck, and like, gotta go to work again, and shit's hard, but
Mhm.
like, hell yeah,
It's like
I'm holding my
Detroit's like-
shoulders back and looking proud. 'cause it's a
Detroit's
proud
nose to the
city.
grindstone.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna nose to the grindstone, and we're still gonna survive. Where I don't know, I haven't necessarily experienced that feel and that grit and that soul in another
Yeah.
city.
It's the soul. That's the difference, and it's because I don't know enough here yet, you know. But
Yeah, it's a
growing
little
up, always
different.
going to Detroit, that was like going to Pistons games and Lions games and Tigers games, and even like a couple years ago, we took a trolley from Greektown to the Tigers game. My mom came down. We're like, "We'll take you to a ball game," and the train was so much fun. It was filled with everyone going to the Tigers game, every age of person, little kids, 70-year-old people, every weight, every color. Everyone was singing all these like old songs and Motown songs and dancing. I was like, this is Detroit. This is a Detroit ass moment. Like,
All right. Well, we've talked about Columbus. We've talked about Detroit. I think Lauren's back with us. I think. Are you guys ready to wrap up?
ready, Freddie?
I'm ready.
You got anything cool going on before next week?
I do not.
Okay.
I have an eventful weekend this weekend, but not any tattoo related anything.
Okay. Well,
Like that.
I've had a few guests that we had lined up, but due to like technical issues, things didn't work out. So I think I'm going to start rescheduling a few of our guests where, for whatever reason, we didn't connect, and then just kind of start touching base with some of our early guests. I think I'd love to have Brian on anytime.
Mhm.
Call him.
Oh yeah.
Call him. Come
We'll
talk
get
to
Brian
us.
back on here.
I want to talk to Brian all the time. I just love hanging out with Brian. Anytime I'm with him, like it's like, okay, we'll see you soon. And then we're like, okay, one more thing. And then 3 hours later, we're standing in the middle of a road in between both of our vehicles, not getting anything
Now
accomplished.
that's a Midwest goodbye right there.
Yes, it is. Every time with Brian, I just love talking with him. But so I will definitely have a guest or two with us next week. We'll have a good conversation. I'll have some nice edited photos of some of the projects I've been finishing, and
Beautiful.
So will Jordan. He's been finishing so much lately.
tune in next week. Episode 60.
I love episodes.
All the episodes. Episode 60 next week.
It's gonna be our logo next week.
All right. Thanks for following along, guys.